Today's episode of True Crime Tuesday is brought to you by Mint Mobile. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/darkness. That's mintmobile.com/darkness. Welcome into the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Got an exciting show for today. I had teased you a couple weeks ago that our guest, Ron Chepesiuk, would be with us. We're going to talk about an interesting case about a serial killer you may or may not heard of, Henry Louis Wallace. Ron has a book out there right now that I had the pleasure of reading a couple weeks ago, and we're going to bring it to you today. And in this book, folks, is thrilling from beginning to end. And I want to tell you a little bit about it in just a second, and we'll get into it in just a second. The name of the book is Bad Henry, The Murderous Rampage of the Taco Bell Strangler. It's available by Wild Blue Press, and we're going to get into that in a moment. I want to tell you a little bit about Ron, our guest, Ron Chepesiuk. He's an optioned screenwriter and the award-winning author of numerous books, 3 of them optioned for movies. He's also a 2-time Fulbright scholar to Indonesia and Bangladesh and a former instructor in UCLA's Extension Journalism Department. His articles, which number in the thousands, have appeared in such publications as FHM, USA Today, Black Enterprise, Woman's World, Modern Maturity, New York Times Syndicate, Toronto Star, Los Angeles Times Syndicate, Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, and others. Is an expert in crime history. He's also a consultant to the Gangland TV series and has been interviewed on numerous TV programs, including Discovery, NBC Dateline, Biography, ID, Black Entertainment Television, Stars, and TV One. As a journalist, Ron has reported from more than 35 countries, including Cuba, Northern Ireland, Colombia, Kenya, Hong Kong, and Nepal, and his 16,000 plus interviews include such luminaries as Jerry Adams, Yasser Arafat, John Kerry, Jimmy Carter, Abby Hoffman, a former president of Nicaragua, and 3 former presidents and 2 vice presidents of Colombia, South America. You know what? Let's bring him on board because he's got a rich history. I want to talk to him a little bit about it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome in for the first time to True Crime Tuesday, Ron Chepesiuk. Ron, thank you so much for being on the program today.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you being with us and being patient with us. It's taken a little bit to get you here, but I appreciate you being with us. And we should explain because we have some audiophile snobs out there. We've got you by phone today, and we're having a little bit of computer issues because that happens. Computer issues happen all the time. So I appreciate you joining us by phone today as well. That I really do appreciate you making the exception and getting with us so we can have you on. I've been anxious to get you on, Ron, because this book is amazing. We're going to get to this book in just a moment, Bad Henry. I really enjoyed this book, and I encourage people to go out and get the book before your appearance today so that they could kind of follow along with us today and on this discussion. I want to talk about your background first, Ron. First of all, I started out over 30 years ago as a radio guy and did some radio news, some journalism, not as much as you, my friend, hardly as much as you. But I want to talk about your journalism background, your interviewing background, and the art of the interview. I've always been fascinated with the art of the interview. And I want to talk to you a little bit about opening someone up when it comes to an interview. And you've interviewed some dignitaries in your day, some really famous, fascinating people. I want to ask you this first, Ron. What does it take to interview someone with an ego, someone who could close down in a minute? What does it take to open them up and to get some of the juiciest quotes, to get some of the best information? What does it take to reach into their soul and pull that out?
Well, that was poetic. Anyways, I enjoy interviewing. I got my own radio show too, Crime Beat, which been on for about 11 years. But I always tell, like, my students when I was teaching, that the best technique that you can use is 2 things: listen rather than talk. Listen to the other person, and always use we. I really don't like these interviewers on TV, like you see them on NBC. They always say I. It's not about them and the interviewee. It's about the audience and the interviewee. And if you establish empathy with the other audience, they will open up. And as far as the ego is concerned, that doesn't bother me because most people, like a lot of people you're talking to, are really really important, and they're all going to have an ego. And if you learn how to just ask the right questions, be sincere, and be interested, I think you'll come off. And I really I've had thousands of interviews, and I have a hard time recalling a bad interview that I've done, where I say, wow, man, I got off the phone or left the room and said, wow, man, I wish I could do that again on that.
Really? Well, what is the key to a good interview as opposed to a bad interview? I know what a bad interview is. I mean, a bad interview eats the card, so to speak. But what makes a good interview? And repeating it. The thing is eye contact and listen, and look empathetic. Whatever the interviewee is saying to you, look like you're really interested and look like you're empathetic on that, and listen. And like I said, use we. Talk about we, and draw the audience into the interview. And nothing can go. There's always something to go wrong, with an interview because you're dealing with people, and it's spontaneous. But I think that if you follow those techniques, most of the interviews that you do will be successful. What's the most interesting tidbit you've drawn out of someone in an interview that absolutely has just floored you, but you've had to continue on and kind of gather it together and keep it together during an interview?
Well, it's interesting. I interviewed back in the early 80s. I was in Northern Ireland, and the troubles were really bad back then between the Catholics and the Protestants. I ended up interviewing Gerry Adams. And Gerry Adams later became a prominent parliamentarian for Northern Ireland. But at the time, he was associated with Sinn Féin, and he was sort of the face of Sinn Féin, which is the political wing of the IRA. And I was interviewing him, and he was very smooth and all that. And there had been a shipment of weapons coming off the coast of England from Libya that were supposedly destined for IRA Republican hands on that. And so I just, I started to ask him a very innocuous question. And I said, I asked him about that. I said, is there any truth to the statement that this has to do with the IRA and all that? And for some reason, it really set him off. I mean, he just looked at me and he sort of stumbled over that because he was very smooth until then. And then he looked up, and I knew this guy had killed at one time, back, because he had this really incredibly murderous look in his eyes. And he said, let's move on. Wow. And of course, we moved on that. So it was really, sort of chilling on that. And I've interviewed, I interviewed some Protestant paramilitaries in Northern Ireland. And I had one interview there where I was sort of indirectly threatened because of my line of questioning on that. And but really, I've had pretty lucky, I guess, because I've had pretty good success with people I've talked to.
See, that was my next question here, Ron. Is have you ever felt like your life was in danger during some of these interviews?
No, no. I've never really had a situation where I was saying, wait a minute, how am I going to get out of this on that? I think I'm pretty lucky on that. And I guess a lot of it has to do with attitude, too. If you have a positive attitude and, aren't apprehensive about anything, maybe that helps you, in terms of dealing with any potential danger.
Is it because a part of the interview involves trust? When you reach out to an interviewee and you're sitting down, that trust is built in that interview, and therefore there's a certain amount of safety that's involved there?
Yeah, you have to have a sense of trust with the interviewee on that. How do you build trust? Well, again, everything I said, eye contact, empathetic look, always ask open-ended questions. Never lead the interviewee towards a question, towards an answer. Always keep it open-ended. Rather than say, for example, did you kill her? You say, you could say something like, the police had you at the scene. Did you have anything to do with it? You know what I mean? Something like that. Just to keep it open-ended, so it gives them a chance to answer the question comfortably.
At some point in the interview, you do want to get somewhat, I don't want to say abrasive, but maybe you want to play devil's advocate with an interviewee and you want to kind of turn up the heat a little bit. Is that part of your style, or do you tend to be more of an ally to an interviewee when you're sitting with them?
Well, you got to ask tough questions. Eventually, if you're in the interviewee with a serial killer, you're going to eventually ask tough questions about that. But one of the things that I do when I have tough questions, I always ask them at the end. Rather than kill the interview at the beginning. Starting off with, "Did you kill your wife?"
Yeah.
You could sort of lead into that, for about 40 minutes or so, and then by the end say, "Oh, we got to talk about this. I'm sorry, but did you have anything to do with your wife's death?" Which is a lot softer than saying, "Did you kill your wife?" Right.
Right. Of course, you're going to want to gain some trust there and bring them in, and then, try to get that information forward. Obviously. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about how you got into crime, and then eventually the Crime Beat radio show. What spawns the actual love of true crime and crime itself, Ron? I mean, obviously, you go from the political background, and I mean, I hate to put crime, politics and crime together. I mean, there's a natural stepping stone there. But what is that love of crime, and why the switch to crime?
I didn't sell my first article until I was 35. I really didn't start writing until I was in my mid-30s. I was an academic before that, a full professor at the University in South Carolina. And I started writing when I was a full professor and all that. But in 1987, I was invited on this trip to Colombia, South Carolina, South America. And at that time, Colombia was in the midst of this war with Escobar, right? Pablo Escobar.
Yep.
He was involved in a campaign called narco-terrorism. He sort of spawned that word. And the Avianca Airlines, which is the national airlines of Colombia, thought that they still could have a tourist trade. So they invited some journalists to come on, hoping that they would see the country and write something positive on that. So I was involved on there, and then my last day, I was bumped off the flight and ended up meeting with a woman who became my wife.
Oh, wow.
On a blind date. Yeah, so I got on a plane, made it home, and I started this romance with her, and I came back to Colombia. And when I went to Colombia, I was getting writing assignments, from newspapers like USA Today, St. Petersburg Times, Orlando Sentinel, and a bunch of other publications. And I was writing about Colombia because there's a lot of interest in it on that. And eventually ended up marrying Magdalena, and I went there. And Escobar was like dominating the headlines, but there was another cartel. Escobar headed the Medellin cartel. But there was another cartel called the Cali cartel, which was slowly gaining power and eventually surpassed Escobar as the leading drug cartel in Colombia. And mid-'90s, I said, God, it'd be interesting. I said, no one's written a book about the Cali cartel because that was their style. They kept out of that. They kept out of the news. They kept a very low profile. But the authorities eventually caught up with them. and put them out of business about the mid-90s. And I said, I got to write about this. And so I ended up getting a book contract and wrote a book called Drug Lords, The Rise and Fall of the Cali Cartel on that. And it was successful. And when I finished that book, I said, I got to do another book. And I was a big fan of black exploitation movies from the 1970s.
Oh yeah, yep.
Like Superfly, Black Caesar,
and Shaft, and
Harlem, and all that.
Yep.
And so I said, I got to find a book about that, to read about that, to find out how those movies started, who did them, and all that. And I couldn't find a book, but then I noticed that a lot of the books, a lot of the gangsters upon which the movies were modeled on operated in Harlem. And so I looked there and I said, God, this would be great to do a book on Harlem. And I did a book called Gangsters of Harlem, which dealt with criminals, tracing the history of the neighborhood. And then the publisher really liked the book, and she said, "You got anything else?" And I said, why not do another book about black gangsters? Because there wasn't really that many books out there. So I ended up doing a book on black gangsters in Chicago. And by then, I was getting a reputation as a crime historian. Mm-hmm. So I sort of backed into it, and I started getting invited on TV shows, to talk about gangsters. And in my book, Gangsters of Harlem, I profiled Frank Lucas, who was the American Gangster movie.
Yes.
Subject of that. And so that got me a lot of assignments. And so by the third book, I was sort of an expert, or in crime, or so I was, considered that by the media. And I decided to, continue writing about that, and ended up writing a whole slew of books. Gangsters in Miami. I did a book on the real Mr. Big. I collaborated with this Colombian drug lord named Jesus Ruiz Henao, who was the first $1 billion cocaine trafficker in the United Kingdom. I did his book, and so by then I was established as a crime historian. So that's how I got to be a crime historian.
Wow. And I talk about just you catch that wave and you're off and running, and man, I mean, you talk about some big criminals and drug lords that you run into on the way. I've got some interesting ties to Frank Lucas. I'll talk to you about off air. I mean, our audience is familiar with them, but we'll talk off air about that.
Yeah, I ended up interviewing him twice. And then I ended up writing the book, collaborated with Ike Atkinson, who was the real American gangster. He was the character Nate in the movie American Gangster. Yeah. And Lucas essentially stole a lot of part of his story. And I ended up collaborating with Ike on his book called Sergeant Smack. Which I think is my best book, by the way, on that. And it's an amazing story. I mean, just amazing.
Wow. That is awesome. That is something else. I'm speechless right now, Ron. That's all I can say. I'm speechless. I may pick up those books this weekend. I got to admit, I haven't read them, but I want to read them. I have a familial tie there. So my stepdad, I'll just go ahead and say it, and then we'll talk about it after the show. My stepdad and his brothers worked for Frank Lucas. So,
is that right?
Yeah. So it was part of his past that he had put behind. My stepdad has been passed away now for probably about 12 years now. So
were they based in New Jersey?
Well, to start with, they were in Harlem and in the Bronx. They had worked out of there. But yeah, he ended up moving out to Minnesota because he let's just say he got high on his own supply towards the end. So yeah. Right. Yeah. But
that's interesting.
Yeah. But his uncle actually worked for the police department.
Yeah. His collaborator, Richie Roberts, who's played by Russell Crowe in the movie. I interviewed him for my show, and he just did a book. You may be interested in doing something with him. I'll give you his contact info.
Most definitely. That would be would be great. I would appreciate that. Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah.
So let's make that transition. Although there's so much good stuff here. You know, you've also talked to Joe Pistone, Donnie Brasco. You've had some Henry Hill. You've had some great. You've had some, man, you're Chris Kyle, the American Sniper. You've had some really rich, for lack of a better term, some really rich characters when it comes to American crime and the American crime scene. When it comes to not just the Crime Beat radio show, which, by the way, tell people, Ron, how they can listen to Crime Beat.
Yeah, they go to the Artist First radio network, Artist First, and they can go to the website www.artistfirst.com, and I won't give you the full Crime Beat address. All you do is go to the artistfirst.com website, and just scroll to Thursday at 8 p.m. and you'll see Crime Beat. You click on Crime Beat, and there's a whole bunch of information, including past shows. All our shows are archived. We have more than 630 shows on there, and you can just click on the show or watch or listen to the show after we post the show after the live show, and all our shows are posted there. You can listen to Joe Pistone and Henry Hill and Chris Kyle.
That's great.
And some of the other people, Robert Kennedy had done, and a bunch of other people as well.
There you go. So there you go. There's history itself right there. So go check that out and check out some of Ron's radio shows, Crime Beat there. And we'll put a link up in the description of this program so you can click on that link and you can go check out those shows for yourself. The book, which we're here to talk about today, is about Henry Louis Wallace. And the book is Bad Henry, the Murderous Rampage of the Taco Bell Strangler. And I tell you what, here's what we'll do, Ron. Let's take our break here. When we come back, let's get into the book. Again, the book is fascinating, Ron. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this book. And the way you put it together was just great. I had a thoroughly enjoyable time reading, as much of an enjoyable time as you can have reading a book about a serial killer, but really, really well put together. So I tell you what, when we come back, we're going to get into this case of Henry Louis Wallace. We're going to talk a little bit about his upbringing when we come back, and we'll talk about why someone who's so congenial, someone who's so nice, it seems, to the people around him, is so evil. And how he got away for so long with his crimes and went about going about his crimes unnoticed in a time where it seems like serial killers should have been picked out rather easily. Why he was such an uncommon suspect for being a serial killer, we'll talk about that as well. Henry Louis Wallace is who we're focusing on today. Again, the name of the book is Bad Henry, the Murderous Rampage of the Taco Bell Strangler. Our guest is author and researcher Ron Chepesiuk. And when we come back, we'll be talking about Bad Henry here on the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. When we come back, want to tell you a little bit more about Henry Louis Wallace. Why is he not the candidate for a serial killer that we think he would be? He's a nice guy, sure. But why is it that the FBI, why is it that even the East Charlotte police say he isn't the guy we're looking for? We'll talk to our guest, Ron Chepesiuk, about who Henry Louis Wallace was, why did he get away with his crimes so often, and what was his downfall. Henry Louis Wallace next. Bad Henry here on True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Our guest is Ron Chepesiuk. The book is Bad Henry, the Murderous Rampage of the Taco Bell Strangler. And folks, we've got a link in the description of this program. I encourage you, if you didn't pick it up a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it here on the program, to go get this book right away. It's out by Wild Blue Press right now. And Ron, again, I'm going to heap a lot of praise on you about this book throughout the program. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Again, well put together. It is it's an enthralling read throughout from beginning to end. I want to ask you just first, and we'll kind of set the scene for people. Who was Henry Louis Wallace?
Henry Louis Wallace was born in Barnwell, South Carolina, and it's a town of about 6,000 people, real small town, half of which are black. And he had a really tough upbringing. I mean, his mother, Lottie Mae Wallace, was very brutal with them. You know, she took out her bad things in life on him. She wasn't very successful with men, and she treated her son very poorly. And he had a sister named Yvonne, and she would have them beat each other up for pleasure on that. And he would have to carry out the waste because there was no indoor plumbing.
Ooh.
It was like really a shack that they lived in, and he was abused by young girls in his neighborhood when he was a kid. But you never know this about it. This was amazing. You know, he went to school. He ended up on the student council. He was a cheerleader. He was the only black cheerleader among them, and his fellow cheerleaders just loved him. I talked to one who coincidentally living in my hometown, and she was shocked to hear that he had become a serial killer because she said he was really a nice guy. Just, you know, he would listen to their problems. He was very empathetic with them. He even drove the school bus.
Really?
You know, the school bus and students all around on that. And he did pretty good in college. He wasn't great, but he wasn't a poor student on that. And he ended up going to college. He tried college, and he decided that, 1985, that he would join the U.S. Navy. And that same year, he married his sweetheart, Marietta Branham. In 1988, he ended up being honorably discharged from the Navy. But during this period, his troubles began. While he was stationed in the Seattle area, he ended up breaking into places, and he got caught. And he was given 2 years probation for breaking into a hardware store. And he didn't learn from that. The probation officers said that he never showed up for his meetings with them on that sort of stuff. And he got out of the Navy, and he ended up back in Barnwell, and that's when his first foray into serial killing began. When he ended up meeting Tashonda Bethea, a young Barnwell High School student, and he was enthralled with her. And finally, he got her to join him in his car, and he took her out to a lake and all that. And he put the make on her, and she threatened to turn him in for his aggression. And when she saw the look in his eyes, evidently, she just backtracked and said, "No, I'm not going to do that." But by then it was too late. He ended up strangling her and dumping her body in the lake. And it was quite interesting because I talked to some of the cops that investigated the case, and they said that Henry was a strong suspect right from the beginning because he was with her. He was one of the last people to see her. He may have been the last person to see her on that, but they couldn't pin anything on him. And eventually he ended up leaving the city and heading for Rock Hill, which is my hometown here, where his sister lived, and he even got into trouble here. There was a charge of attempted rape against him, which never amounted to anything. And he ended up leaving that city. He always seemed to stay one step ahead of the law. And he ended up in Charlotte, where most of his crimes were committed.
Now, the thing about him in the beginning, Ron, isn't it safe to say that... Now, would you say that these first killings were mistakes, or do you think, when you look back on it, that these were intentional?
Well, I think he hated the female. He hated females because of his background.
Okay.
Because of the abuse he suffered from the way his mother treated him. And I think that the killing with Tashonda Bethea, I think, was just an impulsive killing. And later on, he ended up killing some women for different purposes. There was rage, with some of them. He needed money because he became a crack addict. That was his big downfall. He became really hooked on crack and drugs. And there was various reasons later on. There was really no one reason why he killed. But I think in the beginning they were impulsive murders, and he did them because he just hated the opposite race, and he had this pent up anger against females.
Now, it seems like when as I'm reading the book and I'm reading this chapter with Tashonda, there's almost like a fear at first as things are happening, but then that fear becomes almost an elation as he's done finishing the act, as PG as I can put it. And after he finishes killing, does he discover this in this moment with Tashonda, or do you think that he is killed before?
Well, that's interesting because they suspected that he went beyond the 10 women that he killed in Charlotte, and he traveled a lot in the Navy. He was stationed at various places, mm-hmm. And I talked to one cop that thought that he could have possibly ended up killing a woman in other places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just besides Charlotte and on that. But I never found any evidence on that, and I don't really think. I think he was limited to what he did in Charlotte between 1992 and 1994. It was when he ended up killing, the 9 women that he did on that then. But I don't really think that he had any other. He did any other killings besides the ones that he was charged with. So,
in your mind, with your experience, why does it push him to kill Tashonda initially? Is it truly fear that he's going to be caught for rape, or is it the fact that he thinks he can get away with one?
Well, he was totally. What was amazing is that he was reckless in a lot of ways. As you read the book, you'll see that when he continues with his murderous rampage on that then. But he was reckless with that. Even Tashonda, he ended up killing this woman in a town of 6,000, right? Mm-hmm. And he's one of the few men seen with her, and they even suspect that he had something to do with it, and he still got away. I mean, he got away. I mean, they couldn't pin anything on him. The investigating detective who I talked to said that they wanted to charge him, but they had nothing to hold him on that sort of stuff. On that, so it was really amazing with Tashonda Bethea, because how many murders occur in Barnwell, right? Town of 6,000.
Yeah.
On that, so and like I said, he moved. He stayed one step ahead of the law. He moved from there to Rock Hill. Then he ended up getting in trouble in Rock Hill, and then he ended up moving to Charlotte, which is like 30 miles away. From Rock Hill. Now, where his mother lived.
True, very true. Now, in the Navy, he gets introduced to, I believe it's crack, right? So he's already under the influence of drugs.
Yeah. He started on crack, and but he was on marijuana. In one of his psych reports, he said that he was at one point drinking 16 beers a day. So he had an addiction problem to drugs, but yeah, he started off in the Navy and ended up being a heavy abuser of drugs and alcohol, and it wasn't really extreme when he started off, but the longer he stayed in Charlotte, and at that point, of course, crack was becoming really big. Mm-hmm. This is the early '90s, and crack was sweeping the country on that sort of stuff, and so he had easy access to it, and it was he worked in fast food restaurants on that, so he didn't have much money. But you don't have to have a lot of money to use crack, right?
Right.
I mean, you get a rock for like $10 and all that sort of stuff. So that I think contributed to his addiction on that. And of course, he did cocaine. He had access to cocaine, but that was a little more expensive. So I think crack really did him in.
I think I'll ask you this question now. This is normally a question I'd reserve for the end of the program, but you've got a guy here who's addicted to crack cocaine, an easy drug to get. He's struggling for money at times. I mean, mind you, he started out in Charlotte working in fast food restaurants, hence the name Taco Bell Killer or Strangler, right?
Right. Several of the women that he killed had a connection to Taco Bell. They either worked there or had friends that worked there or knew Wallace who worked there.
And we'll get into that here in a moment. But he's, and this is the question I have for you, Ron. Now, is the urge, and we're going to get into a little bit of a psychological thing here, is the urge to kill fueled internally? Is it a mental thing, or do the drugs bring out that evil side? Do you believe that he was drug fueled in killing, or would he have done this had he not had the drugs in his system?
Well, I think that he probably might have still been doing it if he didn't use drugs. You know what I mean? Because, he was a very, very clever killer. I mean, he always covered up the scene. Mm-hmm. He would wash the bodies. He'd wipe off knobs and furniture for fingerprints and that sort of stuff on that. And he was very, very careful. But like I said, he got deeper into drugs. And also, too, he was paranoid about getting caught. And he would go, after you killed a woman, he'd go home and turn on the news and wait for a report on the killing. And nothing ever happened. The police didn't catch on. And so that made him sort of arrogant, and made him overconfident about his ability to get away with the killings.
One of the things about Henry Louis Wallace, and we kind of touched on it here just a moment ago, is that the women he killed, he was familiar with because they were in his sphere of influence. So if you would, tell us a little bit about how Henry Louis Wallace began to know these women. So he the first couple he knew from the fact that they were friends, or they were friends of friends.
Well, yeah, I mean, he worked with a lot of them. He was either a manager or he worked in the restaurants, and they were there. They were all good young women. They were all from about 20 to 35. There was one that was 35, but most of them were in their early 20s. They were hardworking, so they were struggling, to make the rent and all that sort of stuff. And he met him, and like I said, he had that personality that made women confident that that he was a good guy, and they trusted him. They left their baby with them. He would drive them to places, and so when the time came, when they ended up being killed, I mean that was the last thing on their mind, that Henry was going to end up strangling them to death, which is what happened.
And in that, not just strangling them, but a lot of them, there was rape, there was sexual contact in there too.
Yeah, the rape was violent. Violent rape. On that, And like I said, his crimes became more violent. He ended up trying to burn a body. He ended up stabbing a woman 38 times near the end. Total rage, and he was coked up. At that point, he had been kicked out of his house. He had a girlfriend, Sadie McKnight, and she was tired of his drug use, and she ended up kicking him out. And so he was depressed about that, and he had sold all of his furniture, and he became, more heavily into drugs, which meant he needed more money, which again spurred his killing, and it was just a vicious cycle for him. And eventually, the cops were clueless for a long period. They couldn't make the connections for the case, and there's various reasons for that. I mean, to be fair, the cops are overworked. There was like 7 cops handling murders in Charlotte in the early 90s, and there's like an average like 100 murders a year. So you figure that's how many murders each? About 12 murders each. Yeah. And that they were handled, but to their detriment, they didn't talk to each other. For some reason, they didn't say, "Hey, do you have anything that connects to this?" Or they didn't share evidence and all that sort of stuff. So it was, they didn't have any clue that there was this serial killer, even though the serial killing was done within a 5-mile radius. Can you imagine that?
That's crazy.
And yeah, right. 5-mile radius, which is nothing. And they knew each other too. I mean, all they had to ask was a few questions. And finally they did. And one person's name showed up, knowing, all these women. That was Henry Wallace. And they went, looking for him. They found a little bit more evidence. They found a palm print on a car. They had him at an ATM. They didn't have a picture of him, which was not clear, but he had an earring, which they recognized as belonging to Henry, the person in the photo and all that. And did a little search on him. Found out that he was wanted on a shoplifting charge in one of the local malls, $38 sweater that he shoplifted. And then they put it together. And by then, it was too late. I mean, he ended up killing. And then finally, he ended up killing 3 women in the same apartment complex.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and then by then, it was too late. All these women were dead.
One of the things that fascinated me, and keep in mind that for our audience, the Charlotte Police Department is growing with a city that's growing at that time. It was becoming a big city. It was moving from a small town, 400,000, which at that time it was, small rural town, to a big city, and a banking center. And people were coming in. The population was growing. It was becoming a hub for various people. And to the fairness of the cops, I mean, they were making pitches to the city council for more resources, more technology, more men and all that, and they weren't getting it. They weren't getting it. They weren't giving them anything to match the growth of the city. Finally, they did end up increasing the support, but that was like after all the damage had been done, and this was like a year after. And another reason too is because of the tremendous uproar it caused in the black community, which thought racism was involved because the cops weren't doing anything. They weren't making any connections. They weren't making any progress in the cases. And one of the things I found fascinating that you put in the book is that when one murder would happen, they'd assign it to one detective. Another murder would happen, they'd assign it to another detective. And as you brilliantly put it just a few minutes ago here, Ron, none of the pieces were adding up because there wasn't communication between these detectives. Essentially, it was one detective over here doing one case, another detective over here doing another case. And if there's no communication, you can't put anything together.
Yeah, on that. And, in fairness to the cops, they were overburdened.
Yes.
They were overwhelmed because, like I said, there was an increase in murders because of the growth of the city and because of crack. And they were overwhelmed. I mean, they didn't have time to make the connections.
Not only that,
on the case.
Not only that, but they had an overwhelming amount, as you just put it as well, of responsibilities that you wouldn't normally put on just a detective that's trying to solve murders. They had other responsibilities on top of that, correct?
Yeah, it was, and when you say responsibility for a case, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that goes involved with that, time-consuming stuff, like travel, court time, right? Spending hours trying to looking at evidence, trying to figure out, what it meant and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and when you compound the number of murders that each one was responsible for, there's a little understanding there that maybe it wasn't totally the fault of the police department.
So they streamline things a little bit. They hire more people. They get things going, and they also bring in.
That was after the fact.
Right, after the
a
fact.
Year after.
Yeah,
after the fact. Right.
Yeah,
because there's such an uproar.
Right.
In the city from the black community. This happened in East Charlotte, and there was a lot of outrage. They had protests and they had meetings and that sort of stuff. Even appointed a sergeant, a guy named Gary McFadden, which was a smart move because he was competent to head the investigation of these murders, and he was black, which is ironic, right? I mean, he's black. All these women were black, but I asked him about that. I said, point blank, I said, were you appointed to head the investigation because you were black? And he said, yeah, and essentially he said, they're going to look for a fall guy, and that sort of stuff. But he took the job, and he did commendable effort in getting Wallace off the streets.
I suppose Gary McFadden knew it was a loaded gun, so to speak. He knew he was coming in with the idea that if he failed, he was the fall guy. If he succeeded, he was the hero. Correct?
Yeah, on that end. But he went out and into the community and talked with the people. The community-based policing is a big thing now, right?
Yes.
On that, and they didn't practice it back then in Charlotte, and he ended up going into the community and mollifying a lot of the anger that was going on because of the inability of the police to make any progress on the cases.
And it seems like such a simple thing. If you want to build community relations, go out into the community and communicate. I mean, but there's a lot of departments that don't do that. Even to this day, there's a lot of departments that don't do that. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that creates a lot of the problems between the police and the community. There's no sense of trust, right?
Right.
If they're not talking to each other.
Right.
And there's not going to be any trust on that. And you think they know better because this proves that it works.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't happen in some cases. It's improved, but it's still not widespread.
Correct. So some of the most interesting parts of the book, and again, we'll save this for our readers to check this out, but I do want to hint here, Ron, that some of the most interesting parts of the book is after they actually capture Henry and sit him down and get some of his testimony as to it's when the cops sit down and actually interview him.
That was very, very true. And I had a little problems getting people to talk to me. The offspring of or the relatives of the victims, didn't want to talk about it for obvious reasons. Brought back bad memories and all that sort of stuff. And then the cops wouldn't talk to me either because they had such a bad rap on in the case that they just don't want to talk, which was a bad thing on their part. They should have talked to me. But all of this, there was really, excuse me, I lost my train of thought. What was the question?
Oh, just that some of the most intriguing things are actually the words of Henry himself. Right.
So and I was a little worried about the research. I said, how deep am I going to get into this subject? And then what happened was, Wallace was captured. on March 13th, 1994, and brought in for questioning. And surprisingly, he was very, very talkative. And he ended up talking for 10 hours. Incredible stuff on that. And the transcripts were saved, and I got access to them. And that really helped the book on that sort of stuff. Because, like I said, there are some people I wanted to talk to that didn't want to talk on that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite amazing because he opened up about his life, and he opened up about how he killed a woman, and how he got away with it. So it was quite interesting on the subject, and like the court records were not there. I went down to the courthouse, and the actual trial transcript was not there either. So
really,
that was kind of bad on that end. But I was able to piece together the story from a variety of other sources.
Now, when he gets to court, he essentially clams up, doesn't he?
Well, he tried to renege on, or his lawyers did. His lawyers tried to renege on his confession, what amounted to his confession on that sort of thing. But the court upheld it. They said that it was going to be admitted as evidence and on that sort of stuff. And right from the beginning, the prosecution wanted the death sentence. They wanted this guy to fry, and the defense lawyers wanted to have the charge of mental incompetence, as the basis for the trial, and there was no deliberate intent because he was mentally ill, what they said, and on that sort of stuff. And the court didn't buy it, and he eventually got the death sentence for each of the murders, plus a whole bunch of other crimes. But he was sentenced to be executed after the trial in 1997, and you would think, maybe 8 or 9 years, right? He would go through the appeals,
sure, and
then he would be executed. But here we are, 27, 28 years later, and he's still on death row. And that was the thing that intrigued me. And I found out that the state had put a moratorium on the death sentence, because attitudes towards the death sentence have changed, right?
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, because so many innocent people, have been executed, and so they, there's a real negative feeling towards the death penalty on that. And so I asked, McFadden, for example, Sergeant McFadden. I said, when is he going to be executed? I said he's been on death row for 27 years, and he said, who knows? So nobody knows. He's exhausted his appeals. The last one, I think, was 2005. And the court said, the court ruled against him. So there's really nothing, keeping him from being executed. But here he is. He's on death row in Raleigh, North Carolina, and living off the public crop.
Would it be a shock to you, Ron, if we woke up tomorrow and you heard that Henry Louis Wallace was executed by the state?
Well, I think it would be a little bit longer than that. They'd first have to announce an execution date, right?
Sure. On
that. But it happens pretty quickly after that. And no, not really. Because he is up for execution. And I would be surprised, though, if they would rule that he should be executed. I would be really surprised if that happened.
How many of the relatives of the slain women have passed now since this verdict has come down?
There's been several people that have died, several of the mothers and the fathers, and a lot of them are still alive, though. And the daughters of the victims, there's several of them still around, but there's quite a sizable number of people that are associated with the victims.
So there's still enough. There's still enough people out there that want to see justice in this thing.
Yeah, but like I said, it's been such a long time, right? It's been like 27 years, and they just, they really just want to put it behind them. really. I mean, yeah, they don't really want to talk about it, and they don't really want to, have any publicity on it. And that was one of the problems that I had. But I did manage to talk to some of the victims' relatives, and was able to get together some good information.
What is Henry Wallace's outlook on this? Does he want to die?
He has been really, really quiet. I was going to go for an interview with him. I was going to try to get an interview with him. And I talked to the ABC state network producer, ABC, and they had done a documentary on him, which was pretty good. And she told me that she had tried to get an interview with Wallace, and Wallace didn't even answer her. And
really?
I thought, well, this is ABC. What are my chances of getting an interview? And I thought about it, how much time it would take, right? And he's in Raleigh, which is about 3.5 hours from where I live, in Central Prison there on death row. And I thought, well, it wasn't, I didn't think it was worth the time. Because I don't think it really add anything to the story. If I did get a face-to-face interview, he may try to manipulate me,
sure.
Use his charm and all that sort of stuff. But outside of that, I don't think it would have added anything to the story.
Do you think he has anything to add to? Well, you've already said you don't think he has anything to add to the story, but if he had anything to add to the story, what do you think it would be?
Well, amazingly, when he was convicted and sentenced, he got up in the court, which was, the judge allowed him to stand and make a statement, which sort of shocked the court and all that. And he claimed that he was very remorseful about killing the woman, and if he had to do it again, he opportunity to take it back, he would, and all that. So, and knowing Wallace, his character, and what a manipulator he was, right, with people, he completely fooled so many people. I mean, he ended up going to some of the funerals of his victims. He was sitting in the back. While the funeral was going on, one of the mothers told me that after her daughter was murdered, she met him in a mall, and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Sumter, to hear about your daughter. She was such a nice girl." So he's a manipulator, and I'm sure that spending 27 years on death row hasn't changed him at all.
That's absolutely ghoulish. It's psychotic to go up to somebody that you killed, and to go up to their survivor and apologize and just and not know and not mean it. You know what I mean?
Like the title says, Bad Henry. I could substitute Evil Henry for that. Which probably would have been a better description of him on that. But yeah, he is a total manipulator. Just really, really, a sociopath. More so than a psychopath. I think he's more of a sociopath. He just knew how to manipulate people.
Do you think
and get your trust?
Do you think that in his mind that gives him absolution if he goes up to a survivor or to a not a survivor, but it goes up to the next of kin and apologizes? Do you think that to him that cleans the slate, so to speak?
That's a good point. But that's a good point. But I can't get into the mind of a serial killer. I don't think I could do that. I mean, just guess. I'd be guessing if I was doing that. And the FBI were told about. They were brought in on a case because the police were stumped and they didn't think a serial killer was involved.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I teased that the FBI and even the Charlotte police thought that this wasn't a serial killer at one time, and let's explain why.
That's a good question. I don't really know why, but Wrestler, who was the profiler that was brought in, said that if the guy that was committing the crimes wanted to be a serial killer, he was doing it the wrong way, whatever that means. on that, but I don't really know. I mean, why that they concluded with that. And there was, like I said, there was the race element too. All the victims were black. The perpetrator was black on that, and I think falsely it's believed that African Americans don't commit serial killing like the whites do. But if you look at the average, it's higher than the whites on that sort of stuff. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. The fact that there was a black serial killer, but it's hard to say.
I think a lot of it had to do with his patterns, if I remember right from reading the book. The way he went about the killings didn't fit the operation, the way he operated. It didn't fit the way a serial killer would operate. Not only that, but the fact that he was just way too careful. Right. Yeah, he didn't leave any evidence. I mean, that was the whole thing. Right. And no one suspected that there was a connection. I mean, especially the police. That there was a connection between the murders on that, and I think that helped it as well. So, I think that it was hard to determine. And let's face it, he wasn't random enough. I mean, he didn't pick his victims out at random.
Right. They were spaced out, and he was careful about that. He recognized that he shouldn't be too frequent with the murders. But the problem was his crack cocaine habit got bad. It got really bad, and he had problems with his girlfriend on that. And the fact that nothing was being reported about these murders. I mean, there's nothing on the news and all that. Made him a little bit overconfident. And I think all these factors contributed to him being more reckless than he would have been otherwise, and leading to making mistakes and being captured.
Very true. Very true. Well, folks, there's a lot of chilling details in this book that absolutely will raise the hairs on the back of your neck. Bad Henry, The Murderous Rampage of the Taco Bell Strangler is available now on Wild Blue Press. We have a link in the description of this program. And Ron, again, I have to tip my hat to you. This book is well written. It's well put together, and there's just some scenarios here. The individual murders themselves are detailed. And there's points in this book where, you know how it's these individual murders are going to come out, but you do root for these women to try and get away in these different scenarios, especially the one young lady who fought for her life at the end was stabbed. What'd you say, 38 times by Henry?
Yeah. There was slaughter. Yeah, right. But like I said, that was when he was going out of control. He was beginning to lose it. His life was going nowhere, and he was on crack, and plus his pent-up rage against a woman, it all added up together for a bad smorgasbord of vicious killing. Yeah,
and there's it's during that killing, I think, that he truly, there's such a thing when you watch, it almost unfolds like a movie, and you hate to be out of body and describe it like that, but as his evil character unfolds, so to speak, Ron, you almost can want to try to blame the addiction at first and say, well, it's just the addiction that's feeling this. But it's almost at that moment, that last killing, that you truly realize that Bad Henry is truly evil, and he reveals himself. And again, we'll leave it for the reader to find out exactly what it is that he says. But he truly tells you at the end he was evil all along, and it is absolutely chilling.
It makes you wonder how many other people are out there like that.
Yeah, and that's the scary part. It really is. Ron Chepesiuk, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for inviting me on the show. I enjoyed it.
As I did, my friend, as I did as well, and we have to have you back. There's so much to your rich history that I want to go through, and we should
Speaking
talk.
of having me back, I've got a TV series out that came out January 20th on the big streaming service on Carlos Later, one of the biggest drug traffickers in history. It's called Paraíso Blanco, and which means white paradise, and it's on VIX streaming 35 series.
Well, there you go.
I can come back and talk about him later if you want.
Absolutely. Let's do that. We'll set that up, and we'll come back and we'll talk about that. So, Ron Chepesiuk, thank you so much for being with us today.
Okay, I appreciate it very much, Tim.
Thank you. Folks, it's time for us to lighten it up just a bit. It's time now for us to bring in Beer City Bruiser, and it's time now for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
It's that time again, the time you've all been looking forward to. It's time for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals. It's time to bring in a co-host as well. The co-host with the most, the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear, Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, Cruiser. Hanging in there. Like we were talking off air. I'm spread thin right now. Back to a full-time schedule, and I just gotta figure out how to reschedule.
How to reschedule?
Like get it scheduled enough where I'm able to sleep and spend time with the family. You know how it is.
I know. I do know how that is. Yeah, we're gonna have to get you a hammock that you can put up in the yard with the pups, and maybe you can put it in the vehicle. You put a hammock in the vehicle. Yeah, you can hang it from one side of the vehicle to the other.
Well, I'm always good at sleeping in vehicles. I've been sleeping in cars for forever. Now, this is a new kind of tired. I'm used to travel tired. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I've been doing it for so long. This is home every night, but staying busy between us recording, training, the future, helping produce shows now, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, and now meet and greets and autograph signings. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. It's a new kind of
Bruiser's tired.
Yeah. A new kind of CP.
Yep. And I haven't even thrown back in working out again because I haven't been cleared for the gym yet, but I know that comes next month. And so I'm going to get my schedule set now so that when that does get thrown in, I already have time put aside for it.
You know what it might be, my friend? It might be the fact that you're not physically active right now. You know what I mean?
I'm active within doctors'
No, but I mean,
orders. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
You're used to that physical pump from the gym, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes that physical pump gives you your energy.
Yeah. No, it's...
Take it from the sloth over here on this side of the board.
I've been trying to walk with the pups and walk with Mrs. Bruiser. In fact, the other day at that meet and greet that we did, the Andre the Giant one, we were walking around. It's a small little festival. And we were walking around. Mrs. Bruiser goes, "Hey, slow down there, Speedy," because I was walking faster than her, which has never happened in the history of our career or our relationship.
Wow. Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news.
Oh, yeah.
That's good news indeed. Well, Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals is something to behold today, Bruiser. I'm going to warn you, our not safe for work section today, a lot of genital references. So if you're triggered by those, I'd say you probably want to bow out early.
Are we going to have to put out Degeneration X warning?
Yes. Yeah. We're going to have to do that. But other than that, it's an interesting Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals today. That's for sure. So without further ado, we'll jump into it. We're starting out in Florida, of course, where we like our crimes violent.
Yeah, violent and stupid.
Yeah, violent and stupid. This one starts with a Florida man who allegedly pistol whipped and shot his friends in both legs while drunk. Because why leave a healthy leg?
Exactly. You want to make sure he's not walking out of that tavern.
That's right. 38-year-old Thomas Arney was charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. He, of course, pistol whipped and shot his friend in both legs.
I've learned over my years of drinking beer.
What's that?
Never have a weapon nearby when you get drunk. Just leave that locked up.
Yeah. It's probably
nothing good comes. Even if you're just playing with it because you're drunk and want to show your buddy. No, just leave it.
No,
you're sober.
There's no conceal and carry anymore in Florida. You can just pretty much carry that sumbitch on your side now, and beer in one hand, gun in the other. You're always right.
That's their state slogan, actually. Do you know that?
What's that? Beer in one hand, gun in the other?
Florida, beer in one hand, gun in the other.
I think it is. The incident took place at around 4 a.m. on Friday on DeSoto Avenue, and is it De Leon Springs? De Leon Springs?
De Leon.
De Leon.
De Leon. Yep.
Oh, that's right. It is.
I'm related to him. He's the guy who went to go find the, when we go back in the family tree, he's the guy who went to go look for the Fountain of Youth. And he's the one that went to Florida and all that. So, Ponce de Leon.
Then he found one of those chicks in the bikinis, and he found the Fountain of Youth.
Exactly.
I didn't hit the right button. I hit the... Oh, dear
Ponce de Leon was not AI.
No, he wasn't. The Fountain of Youth was AI, wasn't it? Boy, I'm off to an auspicious start today, aren't I? It's one of these. No, it's not one of those. What the hell is wrong with my board today? Boy, oh boy. It's one of those days, Bruiser.
Maybe you need to be.
Go.
Maybe you need to be like Ponce de Leon, just get a new woman every 5 years.
Hey, there you go. There it is.
Fountain of Youth.
Fountain of Youth. The suspect was still on the scene when police officers arrived. He did the right thing. He just stuck around. Yeah,
what happened?
I shot him in both legs. What about it?
He ain't leaving on his bar tab tonight. Look at that.
That's right. Arnie told them that the incident started with a drunken argument. Well, as most of them do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably something stupid like, that's watermelon. That's strawberry. It ain't no watermelon.
Speaking of watermelon and strawberry, there's a new homemade Italian ice out there. I forget what the brand name is, but oh my gosh, is it good.
Okay. I like Italian ice.
I do too. I'm gonna have to get you the brand name, and I'll forward it to you.
I think it was Lindy's. Is the name?
Yes, Lindy's. Yep. That's what it is. Have you had it?
I like. Oh, I haven't had I've had the strawberry and I've had the lemon.
They have a lemon?
Yeah. That's the original. Is lemon.
Oh, I gotta find the lemon. I love me. Yeah. Lemon's my favorite.
Yeah, that's the original. Oh, you'll love this one too, especially when you get right to the bottom.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of the it's flavorful throughout, but right at the bottom they have that nice layer of lemon flavoring, and it's just thawed enough where it's soft and so good.
Oh, yeah, Daddy like.
Yeah, I've been eating those since I was as long as I can remember. That was my mom's go-to treat for us.
Was Lindy's?
Yeah, either those or the Freezy Pops.
Yeah,
but in summertime, all the time. In fact, when she came for my surgery, she went out and bought some and left them in my freezer. So I just finished them a couple of weeks ago.
I think Lindy's is new to this market, is new to Minneapolis market, because I've never seen them before. And then they appeared in the freezer section at the local grocery store, and I went, "Ooh, this is new." So yeah, we stocked up here at the house. They were like 2 for $6.
If you can get the lemon, worth it.
I'm looking.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
I gotta go get more blueberries for the chipmunks today. So.
There you go.
The world's most spoiled chipmunks now. Have I told you that? These little arrogant SOBs are now, they're getting picky with stuff.
They're turning into Talia and Ziggy. Watch out.
I'm telling you.
I tell you, Ziggy, Talia will not poop on grass. What? If the grass is too long, she won't go poop. She'll poop in the street or in the driveway.
Seriously?
Yeah, she doesn't like the grass on her ass.
Really?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. I'll take a picture.
It tickles.
I blame Mrs. Bruiser, so I've taught her now that, because Mrs. Bruiser's who I blame, even though she didn't do it. So now I taught Talia, if you're not going to shit in the grass, fine, I'm going to have you shit right in front of your mother's car.
Well, yeah. So you run it over with the wheels, yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. We got a little off track there, but that's okay.
We did. It was the Lindy's.
Oh, Lindy's. Oh.
It was this guy, because they were fighting over strawberry and lemonade, or strawberry and watermelon.
That's right.
And shot each other in the leg.
That's right. The incident took place at around 4 o'clock a.m. on Friday on DeSoto Avenue in De Leon Springs. The suspect was still on the scene when police officers arrived. Arnie told them the incident started with a drunken argument. Strawberry, watermelon, watermelon, strawberry. Arnie told deputies he and his friend had been drinking outside all night, then got into an argument that escalated, Volusia Sheriff's Office said in a press release. The suspect told investigators that his friend had broken the windows of nearby cars before approaching Arnie aggressively. Why not?
Yep. Show him what you can do.
That's right. Yeah. Give him a little, display of power, I guess. I have no idea.
Yeah.
A witness said that Arnie shot the victim once in each leg before eventually hitting him in the head with the weapon. Wait a minute.
You got to immobilize them and then knock them out. That's, that's drunken army tactics.
Drunken army tactics.
Yes.
Are they doing that right now over in the Eastern Bloc? Is that how they're taking out the Russians?
It's not. I don't think that's an official army.
Oh, okay.
I made it up.
Okay.
And I want to say it's my army, but I don't want anybody shooting anybody and then blaming me.
Okay. Right. Gotcha. The victim did not comply with the investigation, but the witness claimed that the victim was not threatening Arnie before the battery. So in other words, he just walked up, shot him in the legs, and hit him in the head?
I don't know what happened, officer. 1 minute we're having a conversation about strawberry and watermelon. The next thing you know, I can't walk, and I'm waking up with Arnie standing over me going, "Bro, I'm so sorry, bro."
Bro! Sorry for the shot in the legs, bro. You're not going to be jogging anytime soon.
Helping with your disability, man.
That 5K is now a 2-inch K. I know that's not a thing. Don't write me and say 2-inch K is not a thing, Tim. It is for me. I have Charcot foot.
Yeah?
Yeah. 2-inch K is thing for me. I don't run 5Ks. I don't run 2Ks. I don't run 1K. I don't run at all.
Neither does this guy.
No, we don't go anywhere. If it's running, we ain't doing it.
He's wanted to make sure he can get those special passes saying that you have metal in your leg when you go through TSA.
That's a bit of a fallacy after a while. You'll find
I've heard that. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it doesn't pick anything up.
No.
Those scanners don't pick that up. Yeah, it's not a Wolverine situation where you walk through and everything goes beep 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 beep. Nope. All you got to do is if they scan your hip and it does happen to go beep beep beep, it does that maybe for the first couple of months that you have the implant.
Yeah.
Because I've got 3 pins in my hip. It never goes off.
Okay.
Because eventually that muscle grows over.
Well, they told me I should be fine.
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you have pre-check?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "He'll be fine." I'm like, "Okay."
Not a problem.
Well, I'll find out that first week of September.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Right. If I remember right, first time I traveled, it went off a little bit. It was like a type of deal. It barely recognized it. So you should be fine. You'll be fine. Especially with the complicated machinery we have nowadays. I think, they'll see it. Oh wait, you're not going to go through the scanner. You've got pre.
Nope.
Right?
I go through the metal detector. But I got my pictures on my phone, so I can just go look.
They've rebuilt me. They have the technology.
Yep.
That's right.
That's an X-ray of my junk.
Look at my junk. Are you impressed?
2.5 inch K.
2.5 inch K. Look at this. It's almost as long as the implant. The guy will go, "You can pass."
Looks like we're going to have to pat you down, huh?
Sir, we can't let you get on that flight. You're carrying a weapon. Do you use that on the missus? Because I'm surprised she's walking through the scanner.
It'll be funny, too, because they'll be like, we're not sure. I show them my junk X-ray, and they're like, whoa, whoa. And then I pull my pants down and show them the scar. When I showed the students the scar the first time, I went, "All right, guys, you want to see my scar?" And I went, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa!" I'm like, I'm not whipping it out.
No. Sir, are you a police officer? Are you in the business? Because that's a billy club in your pants. I'm just building you up here.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, back to the story. The victim did not comply with the investigation, but the witness claimed that the victim was not threatening Arnie before the battery, as we had mentioned before. Arnie was taken to the Volusia County Branch Jail, where he was booked on how much bond there, Bruiser?
Oh, let's go with $500,000.
Oh, wow! You're valuing this man's legs too much.
All right, $2,500.
Yeah, go up a little bit.
$7,000.
Not even close. $25,000. Yeah, I mean,
$25,000. Okay.
Yeah, $25,000. Volusia Sheriff's Office is actively investigating the incident. No additional details are available at this time. So there you go.
That Volusia County is, if you watch On Patrol Live, which I've been binging lately, they're one of the departments on there.
Oh, I bet. I bet they have a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I tell Mrs. Bruiser, we're in for a treat because it's Florida. And I go, Tim and I cover a lot of Florida stories.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, they have some stuff going on there. Speaking of, we're going to move a little bit northward, I believe. I think Volusia is south of Tampa. We're going to go to Tampa, where the mayor went on a bit of a fishing expedition.
Well, good for the mayor.
Except this one was quite the fishing expedition. In fact, this one came back quite lucrative. The mayor of Tampa, Jane Castor, ironic last name. Castor.
Yeah.
Mayor of Tampa brought in a huge haul while fishing for lobster and mahi-mahi with her family off the coast of the Florida Keys in July. Instead of bringing in fish, what do you think the mayor brought in?
Cocaine. It's got to be cocaine. It's Florida.
You're absolutely right, my friend. That's right. Tell them what Bruiser's won, ladies and gentlemen.
You won to a trip to Florida and cocaine.
And all the rice-a-roni you can eat, my friend. All the rice-a-roni you can eat. Mayor Jane Castor told WFLA The Flay that she discovered about 70 pounds of cocaine floating in the water.
Jeez.
That's 70 pounds, Bruiser.
That's a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, 70 pounds of the cocaina. Let me show you exactly how much that 70 pounds looks like. Isn't that a lot?
I love the butterflies on it.
Yeah.
The butterflies make it the best.
That's right. That lets you know that you're flying high. So
they'll never know this is cocaine. Let's put butterflies on it. They'll think it's something for a child.
That's right. It's butterfly feed. At first, Castor said that she and her family approached some floating debris in the water, hoping to reel in larger fish.
Well, have you seen Cocaine Bear? Well, now Cocaine Shark's coming out.
That's right. Cocaine Shark. What happens is the smaller fish will congregate under the debris for the shade, the mayor went on to say, which brings the larger fish. So you always want to fish around any debris, the mayor said. Good fishing tip.
So does a certain Florida promoter we both know have to send her a thank you note for finding all his cocaine?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not going to say much more because I'll get in trouble, but
that's right.
You get what I'm laying down. Yeah.
That's right. Woo! Can't wait to get the TV. Yeah. But as they approached I've said too much already, but as they approached the debris, Castor, who used to be a narcotics officer, realized that the debris was actually a bale of cocaine. A bale of cocaine.
Those poor drug dealers get into the port like, hey, man, we got 4 bales, yeah? No, man, we only got 3. What happened to the 4th bale, man? I don't know, man.
I don't know, but we got free tickets to wrestling.
And football. And soccer.
And soccer. We got a lot of events to go to, man. Castor and her family fished the cocaine out of the water. Of course they did. And contacted the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Strangely enough, there were 70 pounds reported, but they brought in 100. Just saying. U.S. Border Patrol agents met Castor and her family and confiscated the drugs, which are worth an estimated how much, Bruiser?
It was, 80 pounds?
No, 70.
70?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to say $1 million.
Very good. 1.1 million.
Yeah, like I said, I've been watching On Patrol Live, so I'm getting my street values going.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. We go from Florida to Atlanta. Just a hop, skip, and a jump west.
Yeah, it's close. It's a drive.
Yeah. Oh, God. Sometimes the city will take it upon themselves to clean up a situation.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes the city's a little aggressive.
Yeah, I've seen that.
In this case, they were way too over-aggressive. Got to thank Tom for sending this one in. Welcome back, Tom, by the way. We missed you, buddy. I know, I'm not saying that facetiously. I mean that. We missed Tom.
Well, he also messaged, too, if any of my students were on AEW this past weekend because they're in North Carolina. And they were not on TV. They were backstage there. They were booked, but
they
didn't do anything.
Yeah, they had on, I'm trying to remember, they were in Greensboro.
Yep.
This past weekend.
Yep. And they were in Greenville, South Carolina before that, too. And I had 2 students at that show, too. And they didn't do anything. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is common nowadays.
Yeah. Sometimes they show up. Sometimes they get on TV. Sometimes they don't.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of the ROH guys that were on. I don't know. They were a trip to watch, though, on Collision on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they were funny. They're enhancement talent. We like to call them enhancement talent. But they were pretty funny to watch. I'll get the name and I'll throw it out there in a future episode. So the city of Atlanta mistakenly tore down a man's home, then charged him $68,000 in demolition costs. Because why should we pay for it?
Oh, yeah, it's his house.
Yeah.
His house is in the way of whatever they need.
Sure. An Atlanta man who lost his house after the city tore it down by mistake is now facing a lawsuit to have the entire property foreclosed unless he pays the $68,000 demolition costs.
You left out it was a mistake.
Yeah, it's a mistake. Yeah.
Our bad, but we still have to pay the crew.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Atlanta made a mistake, but you still get to pay for it.
Yeah, we still have to pay the crew. So where are we at on this?
If you'd be so kind as just to fork over that $68,000 for our mistake, that'd be nice. We'd appreciate that. An Atlanta man who lost his house after the city tore it down by mistake is now facing a lawsuit to have the entire property foreclosed unless he pays that $68,000 in demolition costs.
Yeah. See, what they're going to do is they're going to build him a house. Oh, be like, this house is exactly $68,000. So it's literally the world's smallest house. But
the kicker is the original house cost $400,000. Yeah. But Everett Tripodis's property in Atlanta, oh boy, in Atlanta's historic West End is now an empty lot.
Well, it's his empty lot, though.
That's right. It's still his empty lot. Well, I don't know. It's been foreclosed on, so it's not really his.
Oh, so now it's the bank's empty lot.
Yeah. But until a few months ago, he actually owned a home there. He did. One that the city demolished without so much as a warning. Technically, they did send out letters notifying the owner that the property had been labeled unfit for habitation. But they sent them to the wrong address in a different zip code about 1.4 miles away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Way to go, Atlanta. Yeah. You might want to look into your clerical staff.
Yeah. Tripodis and his mother had bought the century-old house as an investment and had been working on remodeling it when the city decided to tear it down.
They decided to help. Your remodel looks like shit. Here you go.
Yeah, so much for those permits. To make matters worse, the city of Atlanta is now suing the owner of the property and threatening to foreclose on the empty land unless he covers the cost of the demolition, which was $68,000.
Jeez.
The demolition order itself gave the city and its contractor authority to demolition the home on a completely different street and a completely different zip code. Tripodis told Channel 2 Action News, adding that the warning letters had gone to another address as well and were returned to sender. Why would you?
It went right there. Like, they kept sending it. Like, no, we know this is a house. We're the government.
Why would you then mobilize a demolition crew if the letters were coming back?
Because those letters are just sitting on someone's desk right now. They'll get to them tomorrow.
The quote here is, "It blows my mind how they could have mistakenly sent these to the wrong address. I come and meet the contractor one morning and the whole house is gone. Everything is gone. Nothing but dirt."
Do you think the contractor looked at him and pulled a Tommy Boy and went, "What did you do?"
The former homeowner has filed a claim for damages. Of course he has. But the city of Atlanta not only denied to pay, claiming that the city cannot accept responsibility for his matter and therefore cannot pay his claim, but recently filed a lawsuit against him, threatening to foreclose on his property unless he pays the demolition costs.
How are they not? That's okay.
They doubled.
Talking out of both sides of the mouth right there.
We call it doubling down on the fuck up here in Minneapolis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I saw that came from the city, I was quite excited. Tripodis told Channel 2, maybe it was a letter of apology. Maybe it was a check. Maybe.
So he was really excited.
Yeah, he thought maybe they're making good.
Yeah, like,
Maybe.
okay, cool. This is cool. I like this. I like this.
He said.
Then he opens it up and it's a what?
He said maybe they're going to justly compensate me. Then I opened it up and realized that they were suing me.
It's the worst.
After you air the story, after everyone sees it, instead of them fixing the problem, they double down and do it again, the man added. It's like after the slap comes the spit in my face. I'm just frustrated. The city is alleging that, quote, the property should be sold at public outcry unless one or more of the interested parties tenders the full redemption amount, which consists of the original demolition cost plus interest, which totals over $68,000.
If I was that guy, I'd find out who's in charge down there at the government and just blast them on all social media, have everybody write in. You know what I mean? Just overload this guy.
I'd ask for the guy's job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Everett Tripodis himself had already sued the city for the wrongful demolition of his property, but his case is stuck in the Fulton court system, and he only has weeks to respond to the foreclosure suit. Well, then you go to the circuit court and you ask for some sort of an injunction to stop the suit.
Yeah, because you have another suit pending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you may have to go through an attorney to get it done.
If anything, they combine the two suits.
I don't
Because
know
it's a civil matter, you can do that.
Can you?
Yeah, you can try them both at the same time.
I mean, you have to ask for the injunction.
Because technically the government's countersuing him for the $68,000.
Or is it a separate action?
It could be, but like you say, he should go down to circuit court anyways and file an injunction and see what,
Yeah.
Hey, I can't respond to this because I'm waiting for an answer from this to see if I can respond to this.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you have to halt everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because it's a wrongful demolition. I don't know. That's just confusing.
On the plus side, my oldest daughter and her fiance just bought their first home, or put it. They had offer that was accepted, so they're in the process of buying their first home. So congratulations.
Congratulations. Hopefully, it's not in Fulton County.
It should tell. Well, he works in his dad works in the construction industry, so they work for the government, so they'd be the ones that would have to demolish it. Can you imagine? You get a demolish order, you show up to work, you get a demolish order, you're like, this address looks familiar. Then you show up, you're like, hey,
it's
wait a minute.
my house.
This is my house.
Ah. Wait a minute, I made the payment this month.
What is going on? Is this a joke? Is Ashton Kutcher punking me?
What is wrong with you people? Speaking of not being successful at maintaining your house's structure. This man is not successful at his own crime.
Okay. Well, probably work on that.
He's even admitted it to police.
Oh, so he's a polite and honest criminal.
Yeah. And he looks like bald Shawn Michaels. I'll show you. Look. He looks like, doesn't he look like bald Shawn Michaels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an interesting tan line, too.
He does have an interesting tan line. Look at him. He just, yeah.
Like, does his hat have holes in those two spots on his head?
His trucker hat's been ripped in half.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. He's not even successful at tanning.
No. He fails at life.
He fails at life. Yeah, it's like somebody tore his trucker hat in half, and it doesn't maintain a good shield.
Like I used to joke with Mrs. Bruiser when I'd spray tan, and I'd go and like spray the back of one of her legs and walk away. Maybe somebody did that to him. Here's 2 dots on top of your head.
It's kind of like it's a pyramid tan on. Yeah, and it goes all the way up his little bald head. Yeah. It's like somebody.
Maybe he's wearing a crown all weekend. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah, a little princess crown.
Exactly, a little tiara.
Yeah. Hey, if at first you don't succeed, try again, but not in this case. Police say that this accused thief, the bald Shawn Michaels clone, declared to police, "I'm not good at shoplifting."
Well, that's good. At least he's honest. I don't know why he keeps trying to do it, but he's honest.
Well, evidently he's trying to hide it underneath a hat with a huge hole in it.
Exactly. Sir, is that a 66-inch TV under your hat? Nope.
Well, it's falling out. You better catch it. After being caught stealing bicycle accessories from Walmart, a Florida man, of course we're going back to Florida, repeatedly gave police a devastating self-analysis. Well, at least he's in touch with himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we'd like to hear. Daniel Kazmar says, "I'm not good at shoplifting." Aw. That's
why are you doing it, Daniel?
Well, I mean, you got to practice.
Is one of those things, if you're not good, just keep trying and keep practicing. Eventually you'll get good.
That's right. How do you get good at fielding ground balls, Bruiser?
Repetition.
That's right. You keep taking the ground ball to the nuts until you put it in the glove.
Yep. And this way he was trying to steal baseballs and kept getting hit in the nuts.
The 53-year-old's spontaneous admission came on August 9th when he was following his arrest for swiping a bicycle pump, a lock, and an inner tube from a Walmart in Largo, which is in the Tampa Bay area.
Hey, he's just trying to get to work. That's what he needed for his bike.
The man takes a bike to work, and he can't even get the accessories for it.
Exactly.
Police say that Kazmar parked his bike, which had a flat tire, outside the Walmart before entering the store and stashing items worth $35.88 under his T-shirt.
And I'm sure he did the look around, too, like no one's looking. Whoop.
Now...
Sir, is that a bike pump in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
Oh, no.
Well, guess what?
Under his shirt.
True.
Now, you've got 2 options here, Bruiser, when you go into shoplift. I'm not telling you anything you probably don't know.
Right.
You've got the shirt, and you've got the pants.
Right.
The shirt's probably, if you're going for a bicycle pump, an inner tube, and a lock.
I'm going the pants.
Right.
Yeah. Because you can put the bicycle lock on one side, the lock, or the bicycle, then the bicycle pump on the other side. And so it kind of looks like you're just enlarged down there.
Right.
And then the inner tube right in the middle.
Wear a belt so you can cinch it up.
Yeah.
Walk like maybe you've been hit by something, so you got a little bit of a limp.
Yep.
And you're out of there.
Yeah. Limp when you walk in, limp when you walk out.
There you go.
I wonder why you needed the bicycle lock, because it sounds like the tire and the air pump were for the physical flat tire he had on the current bike.
Well, and then...
Did he leave it out there unlocked? So that's why he's like, I better buy a bike lock too, so no one steals my bike?
Yes, he probably just wrapped a chain around the bicycle where you park your bicycle, the rack, right? And said a little prayer before he walked in that nobody would steal his little ratty little bike, and then walked into the Walmart, right?
Yes.
Shit. All right. So store security spotted Kazmar in action and alerted police, who collared the accused thief outside the store. If you've ever been to a Walmart in Florida, the cops aren't far behind. They're always circling.
No, they're right there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're always coming by. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
When cops initially contacted Kazmar, he made the following spontaneous statement. He told Officer Luis Rodriguez, "I'm not good at shoplifting."
I'm just not good.
Since his rap sheet includes 2 prior theft convictions, Kazmar was hit with a felony charge for Tuesday's alleged pilferage. That's right, over $35 worth of bike parts.
That's probably the lowest felony charge we've ever had.
He's locked up in lieu of how much bond, Bruiser, for $35 in bike parts?
$1,000.
A little higher.
$5,000.
A little lower.
$3,750.
$2,000.
Okay.
$2,000
expensive bike lock.
$2,000 for $35 in bike parts.
Yep.
God.
And
Kazmar.
when he gets let out of jail, he has nothing to ride home because his bike's still gonna have a flat tire.
That's right. If it's still there, somebody might have said, "Hey, look."
Somebody might. Yeah. No, I'm assuming the cops took it as evidence.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The least they could have done is impound it for a charge of $150 a day, and really screwed him.
Oh yeah.
Kazmar was arrested last month for stealing, $20.78 worth of multiple drinks and sandwiches from a Walmart in St. Petersburg.
This dude just needs to learn how to steal. Like, if you're gonna steal, go big or go home.
That's right.
Yeah.
At least go get your groceries for the week.
Exactly.
Yeah. At the time of his arrest, in that case, Kazmar was also charged with possession of fentanyl and drug paraphernalia.
I knew that was coming.
Oh, Kazmar. Rock the Kazmar. Daniel Kazmar, we knew ye well, but you suck at stealing stuff.
Well, at least he gets 3 hots on a cot now.
Well, for a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably why he's not paying the $2,000 in bond.
Yeah, because he's like, okay, cool. I don't have to ride my bike anywhere.
Yep.
It's hot out. I get air conditioning.
Air
I get free food.
Free food. He gets somebody to talk to.
Yep, my bike's in a safe spot because I impounded it.
That's right, for $150 a day. I'll never get my bike out. They can keep it. Well, we're to the food throwing portion of our program. God. You know, I always love it when people get so pissed off they throw food. I mean, not that I love throwing food. It's a complete waste of good food.
Oh, yeah, but sometimes you're just so angry you have to throw something. And you know what? A ham sandwich just happens to be in front of you.
I love it even better when it's at a fast food restaurant.
Oh, God, yeah. Because you just paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you went into this place with the idea that, oh, God, I can't, I got to have that cheeseburger. Or I'm craving this so badly that I got to go to Steak and Shake and get me a burger. Right.
Yeah.
Or, I got to go to In-N-Out. I got to have a 4x4 animal style. Right.
Yeah. Go to Taco Bell, get that Nachos Bel Grande.
Right. But then so-and-so pissed me off so bad, I'm going to launch this Nachos Grande right at their head. Right?
And now I'm out all the money and my food.
Right. Or this cashier's pissing me off so bad, I'm going to mash these fries right into their effing face.
That'll learn them. Really? We can't tone it down a notch and just enjoy our fries? No, because they're so angry they have to throw it.
I love it.
I just inconvenienced you by making a mess.
Yeah. Pick that one out of your wig.
I think in the back of our head, all of us really just want, after we throw it, we just want John Belushi to stand up and scream, "Food fight!" And then a food fight breaks out.
But then here's the thing, Bruiser. Here's the thing we're not thinking of. The minute that cheeseburger leaves your hand, you're screwed.
Oh yeah, it's assault with a deadly weapon there.
That's right. You're getting rung up on assault.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about the assault that goes with the pepper. You know what I mean? You're gonna get the cops called on you.
Yeah, that happened the other day on Patrol Live. Mrs. Bruiser and I were watching it. Somebody threw a shake at somebody, and she was more offended that they threw the shake than anything else.
Right.
And I go, well, now they're charged with assault with a deadly weapon. She goes, that's not deadly. I go, yeah, technically it is. It's a weapon.
You can drown on a shake.
Well, I said, well, yeah, your arteries are clogging up every time you suck on it. But yeah, she was more offended that he wasted the really good shake than the
Exactly.
actual. It's an assault.
It is. It's assault. Well, the aggressor in our story just happens to be a cop.
No, they're supposed to be cool, calm, and collected in these situations.
Right. We go to South Florida,
Of course.
where a cop is arrested after allegedly throwing McDonald's and a cheeseburger at his wife.
Here's your damn cheeseburger.
I love me McDonald's cheeseburgers. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
The latest McDonald's cheeseburger attack comes from South Florida, where a cop has been accused of throwing fast food at his wife during a violent confrontation in their home.
Oh, so it wasn't even at McDonald's. Like, he had literally driven it home right at DoorDash to him.
That's right. He had got the cheeseburger home.
He was just so fuming coming home.
He's like, honey, face forward.
Do you think after he threw it, he's like, hey, I'm a cop. I have a gun. I could have shot you.
That's
He's thankful.
You take this delicious cheeseburger to the face instead of a couple of rounds out of my service gun. Investigators allege that an irate, that's in quotes, Andre Perez, 34 years old, and his spouse have been arguing about financial and infidelity issues when the lawman stormed into the kitchen in his wife's direction, throwing a McDonald's cheeseburger at her. God love you, Andre.
You're having an affair on me? Well, here, take this damn cheeseburger back.
You're going to take his meat to the face. Watch this. The victim told police that Perez then struck her with a closed fist to the right side of the head behind her ear.
Oh, so the burger was a distraction. It's like, here, distraction, real thing.
Here, catch, boom. During the incident in their Miramar residence, according to an arrest report, Perez and the woman have been in a relationship for about 8 years and have been married for about 3 years total and do share kids in common. Well, that's not good that they're fighting in front of them. Charged with misdemeanor battery, Perez was booked into the county jail. I have his mugshot to show you in a moment. Perez, who bonded out of the Broward County Jail, is an officer with the Miami-Dade Police Department, which is headquartered about 25 miles south of Miramar.
I know why he did it.
Why is that?
He didn't want McDonald's. He wanted a smash burger.
Oh, that's horrible. There he is. There is Andre.
He's been on Patrol Live.
Has he?
Yeah. I recognize that dude.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you can't keep a good cheeseburger down.
No, we can't. Like I said, he just wanted a smash burger.
Oh, God. No, Bruiser. No. Inappropriate. We continue on with the food assaults. This one is, is this one in California? This one's in California. We go all the way over to the other coast.
Okay.
Yeah. A woman is arrested. And by the way, we want to thank our listeners once again for this story. A woman is arrested in an attack on a Watts taco stand after refusing to pay for food.
Just pay for your food. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on. People work hard to
yeah,
you know, especially taco stands, food trucks. I mean, I admire the people who get out there and hustle and put together that sort of stuff.
and they got some good food on those things, especially taco trucks.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, I'm hungry just thinking about it. Yeah, by the way, this past weekend, Jelly Bean and Julia's was out in Anoka.
Yeah.
They put together a little stand Anoka had a little thing going on.
Yeah.
This weekend. They had, get this, Bruiser. They had barbecue pork chops.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
Melt in your mouth type.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Barbecue pork chops. I guess they were doing both cheeseburgers and dogs, too.
Yeah, barbecue pork chops is where it's at.
Yep. I'm telling you. A good barbecue pork chop on a stick. So you get the barbecue pork chop on the stick, you know, the ones that are heavily grilled.
Yeah. Flipping them back and forth. And then it's got the smoky flavor. And then you put the barbecue right on. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. And then you normally it's just good right off the stick. You just, you just tear into them. But if you can imagine a little bit of that J&J barbecue sauce right on it.
Oh yeah.
My
have
God.
a little dipping cup.
Yep.
Dip it in there.
I did have some of the brisket from J&J this weekend.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Delicious. Amazing.
I'm jealous.
Fall apart. It's just, amazing. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes, taco truck. Taco truck, Watts. A woman accused of attacking a Watts street vendor over the weekend. Oh, by the way, and this coming weekend in Anoka is the Food Truck Festival.
Oh, I recommend going. We have those out here. And
yeah.
They're so good. They do such good stuff on food trucks now.
You know who's at that Food Truck Festival? Alicia.
ODB?
Yep, she was last year. I think she's there.
She has that meat in a cup.
Oh.
And it is amazing.
Isn't it, though?
Oh, yeah.
She also does the thing, and folks, ODB does this thing. She just recently got married a few months back.
She recently got married, and they just opened up a second food truck.
Yeah.
So I know she probably doesn't listen, but Jess, I love you, and I'm proud of you, and congratulations. And if you guys are ever around for ODB's meet and greet, it's what the truck's called.
Yep.
Get meat in a cup. Recommend it highly. Oh.
And she does like a sweet Carolina barbecue sauce.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
She has this thing. Now, when you go to the food truck, she also does a thing that's like a boat that has, I believe it's pork, and on top she's got macaroni.
Yep.
Macaroni. But yeah, oh my God, I did that deal.
Yeah.
And I was full. I was so full.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you, but my belly was happy for days.
Oh, yeah. Every time I see her, I get that meat in the cup.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
It is.
Mrs. Bruiser's helped her on the food truck a couple times, so I know the secret of how it's made. And,
yeah.
So good. So good.
It's amazing. So, yeah. So I believe she'll be out there for that. Don't quote me, but if you go to her website, I don't have the address on me right now, but yeah, check out, just look up ODB Meet and Greet, MEAT.
MEAT, yep.
Yep. And check to see if she'll be out at the Anoka Food Truck Festival.
And if you like her sauce, she has her own sauce bottled and ready to go.
Yep.
It's so good. And I know she does something too, or if you're a wrestling fan, she has her wrestling merch there too.
Yes. Yeah. She's got merchandise there, and she'll take pictures with you too.
She does pictures. Yeah. She's the nicest girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Jess. I love ODB.
Last year at the Food Truck Festival, they were taking up donations for the wedding, which was really cute.
I gave to some of that when I saw her when I did the Impact tapings. They brought her in too as a special, and Mrs. Bruiser and I gave her to help out. Got to meet her fiance, really nice guy.
Yeah. We threw in too for the donations for the wedding.
A little history, and I know we're going down a path, but when I started wrestling, she started at the same time, so we used to ride together.
Oh, cool.
So we go back, I'm going on beginning my 24th year, so that long. Yeah, it used to be me, her, a guy named Jimmy, and Mr. Ken Anderson, and Sean Devari. And
there you go.
We used to be on all the shows together, and I've known Jess a very long time. That's
a damn good lineup right there.
Oh, yeah. Silas would jump in with us every once in a while, like we had.
Yeah, can't beat that lineup, that's for sure.
Nope. So but I remember when she started doing this food truck, and she was nervous, and we went at the Crusher Fest and had it, and it's only gotten better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that one that she had there burned down, so now she has a custom one.
Yep.
And like I said, they just opened up a second one, which is custom too. So
yeah, it's good stuff. So if you're in the Minnesota area, check out the Anoka Food Truck Festival this weekend. I know I'm getting off the air from KNSI, and I'm shooting right over there.
Yep.
Right over there after I get off the air. So.
And I think they do winters in Florida. I think she does summers in Minnesota and winters in Florida.
Yep. So yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Looking forward to it. Okay, back to the food truck stuff. Back to the Watts,
taco truck.
The taco truck, the taco stand. A woman accused of attacking a Watts Street vendor over the weekend after she was asked to pay for her food was arrested, according to police. Los Angeles police identified the woman as 36-year-old Renee Latrice Hines of Bakersfield. The incident took place on Sunday evening when street vendor I believe it's Joanna Vasquez of Tacos Ortiz on Grande Avenue and East 103rd Street in Watts was attacked by a female driver of a 2007 pink Lexus.
Oh, geez.
Right?
Like, come on.
Right.
You want a Lexus and you can't pay for a taco?
Right.
A pink Lexus on top of that?
Yeah.
Mary Kay, pay for it.
You're right. You're trying to be bougie, but you don't want to pay for a taco.
Exactly.
Yeah, come on. Officers with the Los Angeles Police Departments arrived on the scene at 6:35 p.m. and determined that Hines punched and pepper sprayed Vasquez when Vasquez asked the suspect to pay for the tacos that she had consumed.
What?
So she ate the damn things in front of her.
Things and then just said, "Oh, I'm not paying for these. Look at my pink Lexus. I don't need to pay for these. You know who I am?"
That's ridiculous. Straight up.
I run the cosmetic industry around here.
Tacos Ortiz staff recorded the incident, posted the video on Instagram on this past Monday afternoon. In one clip, the woman exits her vehicle and charges the vendors, appearing to throw a bottle at the stand's male owner. She then launches into a table and grabs Vasquez by the shirt, attempting to drag her away from the stand. As she yanks Vasquez with her right arm, she punches the much smaller vendor with her left arm and screams obscenities before eventually stopping after 15 seconds. Class act.
I've had some really good food and I've had some really bad food, and never in my mind with either experience as punching the person that gave it to me.
Yeah. You know, I could see going, I wasn't crazy about this.
Yeah, I've said stuff, like your meat's going better, this wasn't, so great. I've asked for refunds.
Yeah. Or I'm going to report this on Yelp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it's been great, I've actually sent messages back. Hey, tell whoever made this it was fantastic. I'll be back, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. This is great. I'm going to report it on Yelp. But yeah, not punching somebody, not dragging them from behind their stand and punching somebody.
And then after you punch them, you pepper spray them?
Yeah.
Wasn't hot enough. Here, use this.
Oh, crazy. The stand's owner then runs to record the woman's license plate, and she responds by grabbing the vendor's plastic sandwich board sign and chucking it at him. Class act. She continues yelling profanities before returning to her car on the passenger side as another person drives the vehicle away because, she's got taco juice on her hands, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even her car. She can't even afford a Lexus.
No.
Don't go to a taco stand if you can't afford it.
That's right.
And tacos are cheap, man.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're not that expensive at all.
Even from food trucks, they're cheap.
Yep. Los Angeles Fire Department paramedics treated Vasquez for her injuries. Hines was booked on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon, and her bail was set at $30,000. Not high enough.
No.
On Wednesday, New Jersey-based Houston Logistics America confirmed that it had terminated an employment agreement with the woman, Good.
Yes.
Who had been temporarily assigned as a contractor to the global supply chain company by her employer, Carson-based Simplified Labor Staff Solutions. There's nothing simple about this woman.
No.
The woman was not identified by her employer. Houston released a statement saying it does not condone violence of any kind. We were alerted to an online video of a temporary worker whom her employer had assigned to work at one of our warehouses. The statement read, "This person is no longer assigned to work at our company and will not be allowed to return to any of our facilities." Calls to Taco Ortiz were not immediately returned. In the taco stand's Instagram post, the video included a message that reads in Spanish, "Be careful with these types of people. They arrive ordering food, and when it comes time to paying, they act like this." A Houston spokesperson said the company was tipped off by street vendor activist Eden Alex Enamorado. Enamorado organizes a regular group chat with several South Los Angeles street vendors and was informed that same day of the incident. Enamorado said the woman had dined at Taco Ortiz at least 2 times before and then fled without paying.
Oh, geez. So she's done it before.
Yeah, so this isn't the first time.
No.
That's a class act right there.
Yeah.
On Sunday, Taco Ortiz employees decided to record her return, leading to the assault, according to Enamorado. He said recent violence against street vendors has been fueled by various issues. It's a perfect storm between racism, the economy, and the stigma of people thinking that sellers don't want to obtain permits, Enamorado said. There's a pettiness and hatred that builds up for street vendors, and that leads to hatred. As a result of Enamorado's efforts, Simplified Labor hired Taco Ortiz to cater a Houston company lunch on Friday. Well, that was nice.
That's cool. Good for them.
Yeah. That, according to an Instagram post that featured Simplified Chief Executive Ashi Wahi. We really like to support our... What's funny?
Ashi Wahi? That's not his real name.
That's his real name, yeah. The Simplified Chief Executive is Ashi Wahi.
Are you sure that's not a food item on the menu?
No, it's not. Bruiser.
Ashiwahi sounds like a tuna taco.
It is not Bruiser. Come on now.
Sorry, that's what I think of.
It's not the Mahi Mahi, it's the Ashiwahi.
Exactly. I don't know. It's just, I wasn't expecting that name for us, the owner or president or whatever he is.
He is the... He's the Simplified Chief Executive. Ashiwahi.
And he's the number 1 on the taco menu.
No. It's not a cannibalistic menu they're serving over there at Taco Ortiz. He said, we really like to support our community, he said in the video while speaking with Enamorado. He said, thank you for the cause that you believe in, that we also believe in, because the right thing needs to be done. So there you go. All ended well over there.
Yeah. I just got to arrest that lady.
That's right. And Ashiwahi had the Mahi Mahi for lunch. So there you go.
Now there's a taco named after him.
Send your emails to bruiser@darknessradio.com.
It just caught me off guard. Like I was not thinking that's the name that's going to come out. Like I'm like, oh, Tom Collins. Okay, yeah, I get him. He's a drink. But a washi.
Not a washi. It's an ashiwahi. Not washi. No, washi is what you do on the cruise ship before you eat, so you don't get sick.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Before you eat your ahiwashi on the cruise ship.
Oh. God. Let's move on, shall we?
Yes.
We're going to Texas, where the ultimate in Bexar County entitlement happened this past week.
Oh, I love entitlement.
A Texas mother accidentally called accidentally, that's in quotes here.
Yeah.
Called 911 looking for her son's soccer ball. And a deputy.
Not a criminal matter.
That's right. That's what 911 is there for, folks. And then a deputy arrived and found the ball.
What a nice deputy. Hopefully he told her, hey, this isn't a criminal case.
I wish he would have cuffed her and then took her in afterwards.
For misuse of 911?
Yeah, but I don't think that happened. At least not in this case. Privilege! We go to Bexar County, Texas, where a Texas woman who accidentally, I'm using quotes, they're not, called 911 while looking for her son's soccer ball was shocked when she saw a deputy knock on her door with the missing ball. According to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, the woman had a safety setting that allowed her to call 911 without unlocking. We all have it on iPhones.
Everybody has it, yeah.
Yeah. When emergency services answered, she told them it was an accident and everything was fine. A deputy was sent to do a welfare check Right.
That's normal. No, that's normal.
Over a soccer ball?
No. If she calls and says, "Oh, sorry, it was a mistake," they still send a deputy out to make sure that you're not in any problem. That's like the code. If you call 911, if you are unsafe and the person's in the room that's making you unsafe, call 911 and order a pizza.
Okay.
Then they know you're not safe, and they will send a deputy out there. I mean, they send a deputy anyways, but that's how you can tell them you're in a situation that you can't talk to the police.
So I'm looking for a soccer ball as code for.
Oh, no, that yeah, don't do that. Don't call for your soccer ball.
Okay, all right.
Like, call your husband, not the cops.
Call your husband. Why not tell the kid to hold on to the soccer ball?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A deputy was sent to do a welfare check where she explained that she called accidentally while looking for the ball. I jokingly told him, if he sees the ball, let me know. Not 2 minutes later, he was knocking on the door with the ball.
So he found it right away. He's probably like, "Here's your stupid ball."
He should have
Your
followed.
kid was playing with it in the front yard.
Yeah, he should have said, "Hey, dumbass, here's your ball." Ring camera photos provided by the sheriff's office showed the interaction. Oh, dear God. Yeah. And then he should have cuffed her and said, "Come with me."
Yes.
That ball is going to cost you a few dollars and some time in jail. So, too harsh? Probably not. Just.
I think she should have gotten a ticket for misuse 911.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on, shall we?
Okay.
Some people want to be helpful to society. Other people wish they had superpowers. And then you've got the boy who wants to do both.
Okay.
But he took it a little too far, Bruiser.
I hate when people, they help too much to the point where they're not helping anymore.
Yeah. An 8-year-old Bolivian boy ended up in the hospital after allowing himself to be bitten by a dangerous black widow spider in order to become like his favorite superhero, Spider-Man.
Oh, see, this is where your parents have to step in and go, "No, this is fake.
Yeah.
This isn't true."
That's right. That didn't really happen, Billy.
And how do you know that black widow? First of all, he was bitten by a radioactive spider.
Yes. Yeah.
Not a black widow.
Yeah. Don't go stand under the power plant with a spider, Billy.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen. The incident occurred in the municipality of Vichaloma near the city of, I believe this is Oruro in central Bolivia. The 8-year-old child, whose name has not been revealed to the media.
Oh, it's dumbass.
Yeah, it's
that's a kid's name.
Dumas, not dumbass.
Dumas.
Yeah. Was reportedly playing near a river close to his house when he turned a big rock and discovered a black widow spider. Without realizing the consequences of being bitten by a highly poisonous spider, he grabbed the arachnid and put it on the back of his hand in hopes of being bitten.
Ugh.
Oh, Dumas.
Second of all, Peter Parker didn't know the spider had bitten him.
Right. It was a surprise. Surprise! Yeah.
And depending on what version of the comic, it was either on the back of his neck, on his back, or on his hand when he was looking away. He didn't put the spider on him.
Right. Well, little Dumas got his wish, and then he headed home where he began experiencing symptoms like body aches and intense muscle spasms. Initially, the boy didn't say anything to his mother about the spider bite, but after about 3 hours of agony, he said that he had been bitten by a colorful spider. Oh, Dumas. The concerned mother took the child to a health center in a neighboring town, but he was subsequently referred to the Hospital General San Juan de Dios in the city of Oruro as a medical emergency. After hearing about the spider bite, pediatricians then contacted Ernesto Vasquez, head of the Zoonotic Diseases Program of the Departmental Health Service of Oruro, who helped establish what kind of a spider had bitten the boy. The child, without considering the risks, picked it up and placed it on the back of his palm where the arachnid had made the bite, Vasquez told the EFE news agency. "We are extremely concerned because the analysis and questions asked of the child when he had already recovered indicate that he had picked up the arachnid with a simple purpose, that he wanted to become Spider-Man." God. The boy's mother confirmed that he was a big Spider-Man fan, but she had no idea that he could do something so dangerous to actually become like the Marvel superhero. Luckily, after identifying the spider species, doctors administered the proper antivenom, and the boy's condition became stable only 30 minutes later. These black spiders with red backs are black widows. They do not cause anyone to become Spider-Man. On the contrary, they put lives at risk.
He's lucky he's alive.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Are kids getting dumber?
Yes, they are.
Because you and I grew up comic book fans. We've never hidden the fact that you and I are huge comic book fans.
Yep.
My top, comic book I read are, Punisher, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Batman.
Yep.
Never once have I thought, gee, if I put toxic waste in my eyes, I could be like Daredevil.
Yeah, you never asked me to throw a barrel at you.
Never once thought, well, hey, if I go kill a bunch of mafia members, I'm just like the Punisher.
Yeah. Yep.
I did ask my parents for $1 billion so I can become Batman. But what kid doesn't?
Yeah, I know. I asked for the same thing. My dad laughed at me.
And, my dad did too.
And
then,
said,
are kids getting dumber now?
Yeah, and then he divorced my mom and left. So he said, you're half an orphan now. So, enjoy. Yeah, it didn't quite work out the way I thought it would. Yeah.
So, never, ever in all my years of being a comic book fan, if I picked up a comic book and went, gee, I wish I could do this, or I'm going to find a way to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh? I don't know. Yeah, kids are getting dumber. That's essentially the lowdown here. It says most people who get bitten by widow spiders do not suffer any serious complications, thank God. But in rare cases, the bites of some widow species have resulted in fatalities caused by the severe disruption of nerve signals in the body. So this kid could have bit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Young children, the elderly.
He's lucky he didn't become Stephen Hawkins. All the nerve damage.
Oh, yeah, true. I thought you were going to say you became Stephen King and wrote a really, really scary story. Young children, the elderly, and people with underlying health problems are most susceptible to serious widow bite complications. Interestingly, a very similar case was recorded in 2020 when kids were beginning to get really dumb, I guess. I don't know. When 3 boys from the Bolivian town of Chayanta provoked a black widow spider to bite them for the exact purpose to become real-life Spider-Men.
These kids need to realize that the superheroes aren't real, because Christopher Reeve played Superman. And look what happened to him when he tried to fly.
Okay, but good example, okay? For how many generations have kids been putting blankets around their necks and jumping off of roofs?
I never jumped off a roof because I know that would hurt.
No, but I mean, even back to our parents, there have been kids who have been doing it.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But some of them were smart enough to put mattresses down on the ground. Others,
you can even take it as far as after people see Mary Poppins, they jump off the roof with an umbrella.
Yeah.
Kids have always been dumb. Maybe that's just it. Kids are just dumb.
Yeah.
I love you all, my kids. But you're all dumb. I say it all the time. I love my son, but he's an idiot.
You know what it is? Maybe we fill him with unrealistic expectations. We tell them, if you dream it, you can achieve it. No, Billy. No. You know what? You can dream it, but there's some things you can't achieve. You can dream that you can fly like a bird, but if you jump out of a tree, gravity's going to win 99% of the time.
Yes.
That's a real rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some things you aren't going to achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's just be real.
Yeah. If you jump off that roof, you're going to break your legs.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Yep. You're going to shove your shin straight up through your chest cavity. It's going to, yeah. Or try that little Roman Reigns superhero landing once. You're going to
I love that we have to put a warning before wrestling stuff. Kids, don't try this at home, but they don't do it before, like, the Avengers movie.
Right. You're right. There's no warning before the Avengers movies or any of the superhero movies of don't try this at home.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Jeez.
Kids are dumb.
Yeah, kids are dumb. Speaking of dumb, are you ready for this? That's why this is Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, I guess. But,
Exactly.
Yeah. But this is equally as dumb. Miss Scotland. If you're looking for a date out there, guys, Miss Scotland seems like the woman you wanna date.
Okay. Fiery redhead.
A fiery woman. Lucy Sophia Thompson. She's a ripe age of 24.
Okay, so a fountain of youth.
Or right at that age, one or the other. Boy, how do you pronounce this town? Dunfermline, Fife is where she's from. She's been reported to the Procurator Fiscal in connection with an incident that happened on June 17th. Miss Scotland is charged with an alleged hate crime.
Oh.
And a disturbance at the Edinburgh rugby event.
Oh, well, I don't think she should be in Scotland anymore. Scots don't want her representing them. We love everybody equally and the same.
That's right. Well, you would figure Miss Scotland would love everybody, especially over on the island of Scotland, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let me break it down for you, fellas. Sorry. I've got that Young MC Bust a Move song in my head. So holy old songs, fellas. Current Miss Scotland title holder Lucy Sophia Thompson has been charged by police with an alleged hate crime and disturbance at a sports event in Edinburgh. Been too long since I've done that. Police Scotland confirmed that the 24-year-old had been reported to the Procurator Fiscal, who will decide if the case goes to court. Let's hope not.
I hope not.
Yeah, we got to keep her purdy behind out of jail.
No, not if she's doing hate crimes.
Yeah, if it's a hate crime, she deserves to go in.
Yeah.
The beauty queen from Dunfermline, Fife was, I hope I pronounced that right, unless I go, Dunfermline, Fife. Was that closer enough?
That was better.
Yeah.
The second one, yeah.
Dunfermline, Fife was allegedly caught on camera being drunkenly ejected from the Edinburgh City Sevens on June 17th. The footage, which was shared with the Record, shows she's blonde-haired. She's not red-haired.
Oh, okay.
She's a blonde. A blonde-haired woman being led off of Peppermill playing fields in the capital. I'm going to get a bunch of letters being asked why I sound like Scrooge McDuck.
I was going to say, you're going to get a hate crime.
Yeah, I'm going to get hate crimes committed on me. The woman can be seen stumbling and physically lifted up by security staff who struggle with her as they're trying to bring her back to her feet. Well, by God, what did she do, you may ask?
Yeah.
Separate allegations were made about a worker being assaulted and racially abused at the event.
Oh, gosh.
Ms. Thompson is a businesswoman, believe it or not, who runs the Scottish Fashion Association, which is an events firm that aims to address the challenges that the fashion communities face, such as racism, sexism, and gender inequality.
Oh, but yet here she is spewing hate words.
Yeah. At the time of the footage emerging, they posted the following statement on Instagram.
We don't know who she is.
She's who again? SFA are aware of the incident on the 17th of June, 2023. We are treating this matter exceptionally seriously and will provide an update in due course. MK Event Services, who provided security at the event, added, given there is a live police investigation, it would be inappropriate to comment at this time. Well, what the hell did she do? Okay, let's continue. Thompson was crowned Miss Scotland at a glitzy bash in Glasgow. That's the name of our new album, by the way. Glitzy bash in Glasgow.
It's our drinking songs.
That's right. Last July, after seeing off hundreds of women to take the coveted title. Oh my, this sounds like a nice night in Glasgow, doesn't it? Alongside her work and fashion events, she also founded a charity, World of Bravery. Get it? Bravery, that supplies underwear and period products to vulnerable women.
Yet here she is spewing off racial slurs.
In June, the Miss Scotland organizer confirmed they were aware of an incident and were looking into it fully. A Police Scotland spokesperson said a 24-year-old woman has been charged in connection with a disturbance and a hate crime in Peffermill Road in Edinburgh on Saturday, June 17th, 2023. A report will be sent to the Procurator Fiscal. The Miss Scotland organizers and the Scottish Fashion Association have been contacted for comment. But nobody will say what she did.
She said that, they said that she racially berated a server or a person that worked there.
Yeah, but what did she say?
Well, we can't repeat it here. We don't want hate crimes.
No. I mean, we don't want to be...
It was a very colorful language, I bet.
I bet.
Yeah.
It probably was something, somewhat.
She was probably young. Do you know who I am? I'm Miss Scotland. You beep, 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 beep,
Yeah.
beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. Okay, now we're at our NSFW point in the program.
Oh, okay.
So if you're listening near small children, which if you have been up to this point, I don't know why, you probably want to escort them out of the room. If you're listening at work, you probably want to put in your AirPods or your earbuds or your earphones.
Unless you got a cool boss.
Yeah, unless you got a cool boss who's like, turn it up, dude.
Boobies and beer, yeah.
Yeah, bring me some boobies and beer, yeah. Crack one open and let those puppies fly. Unless you got that kind of boss. Because we're about to get into it. We've got inappropriate names, we've got inappropriate body parts, and we're gonna get into it with our NSFW portion of the program, which will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't say that we didn't warn you. All right. Oh, and we got to get moving here. Here we go. All right. An Oxford woman is charged over a body found in a river in 2021. Here's the inappropriate names. A woman has been charged with murdering a man whose body was found in a river 2 years ago. The body of 30-year-old Jorge Carino was pulled from the river Cherwell at Parsons Pleasure Bathing Palace in Oxford on July 26, 2021.
Do we have memberships there?
I wish we did, but we don't. That's not the worst part of it. 25-year-old Scarlett Blake of Crotch Crescent.
Somebody was bored with their name, and all these are really horny.
Right. Now, her name used to be Alice Wang. Alice Wang of Crotch Crescent was charged with the offense on Saturday. She is also charged with causing unnecessary suffering to an animal, criminal damage, and theft, police say. Thames Valley Police said the other charges were not related to Mr. Carreno's death. Deputy Chief Inspector John Capps said it was a complex investigation, adding, "We still need help from the public." He urged anyone in the area of Parsons Pleasure or cycle paths around the river in the early hours or morning of July 25th, 2021 to contact the force. Ms. Wang is due to appear at Oxford Magistrates Court on Monday. So essentially,
it could be a really long investigation because they really want to spend some time in that pleasure place.
That's right. They want to take a look around the pleasure place looking for the damage that Wang did.
Yeah, they want to talk to everybody. If any females, anybody has anything to come forward,
That's right.
They'd really like to hammer this down.
That's right. They want to know exactly what kind of damage a Wang can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To that crotch.
To that Crotch Crescent area. Just saying. Okay, second story. An investigation into the unexplained death of a man found after a Derbyshire pub crawl. Police are investigating the unexplained death of a man in his 70s the day after he visited a number of pubs.
Okay.
Okay?
Pub crawls are fun.
Pub crawls are fun. Derbyshire police were called into the home in Goit Road, Whaley Bridge, on Saturday afternoon, August 12th, following reports that a man had been found dead. The force currently isn't treating the death as suspicious, but they're appealing for more information about the circumstances of his death. The man's family has been informed, by the way. It's believed he visited a number of pubs in the Whaley Bridge area on Friday evening, August 11th. Police think he walked home after leaving the Cock at around 11:15 p.m.
Anytime you leave the cock, you want to get home safe.
That's right.
I used to tell anybody I brought home with me that, hey, when you leave the cock, get home safe.
Anytime you've been drinking from the Cock,
Oh yeah,
yeah, you want to make sure
safety's number one at the cock.
when you're pulling out from the Cock, you want to make sure that you get home safe.
Yeah, when you're having that sex on the beach at the cock,
Yep.
you know, with the slippery nipple foul back, you wanna make sure you are safe. The cock likes to be safe.
Yes. Yeah.
The cock makes sure they wrap it all up and send you home safely.
They serve it to you stiff at the Cock.
They do.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard liquor at the cock.
That's right. So
Yeah.
when they're serving it to you hard at the Cock, make sure that you've got a designated driver to get you home safe.
And trust me, you're going to be there for a while at the cock. They don't allow you to leave early.
Sometimes
There's no premature leaving the cock.
sometimes they hammer you so hard at the Cock that you could die.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So make sure, again, you've got a friend to get you home after you've gotten hammered at the Cock.
Oh yeah, it's always a great time at the cock with a friend.
That's right.
I recommend the pound cake.
Police said we're working hard to trace the man's movements in the last 24 hours before his death at the Cock.
So they just got to jump on the cock, don't they? Find out what's going on.
They absolutely do. And we would like to hear from anyone who may have noticed a man with injuries or something that didn't seem quite right after he had been at the Cock.
At the cock. You don't want to be injured on the cock.
No.
Yeah, that's bad.
Some people try to suck it up,
Yeah.
you know, when they've been at the Cock.
Yeah.
Other people will just push forward and take the Cock as hard as they can.
Sometimes they like to, do some blow at the cock. But don't get injured.
No. By the way, here's a picture of the Cock right here. It's a cock pic. I'm just showing it to Bruiser.
Oh, that's a nice cock.
Yeah, thank you.
I heard they play the stroke a lot there by Billy Squire.
They do. It's actually the theme of the Cock.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of women don't like to see pictures of the Cock,
No.
but I find it appealing.
This is actually a decent picture of the cock. I love that its address is 6969 Easy Street.
Yeah, it is a nice address.
Yeah. It's a lovely cock.
Yeah, it is a lovely cock, isn't it? Yeah. It's pretty full. Look at it. I mean, look at it.
It's a full white cock. That's the biggest white cock I've seen.
It is. There you go.
Can fit out. You know what? I heard it's Derbyshire, I believe, is a Navy town, so there's probably a lot of semen in that cock. It really sucks when it's 2 a.m. and they eject you from the cock.
Yes, it does. Our next story, Bruiser. A T-shirt cannon was used in a prison contraband scheme at Limestone Correctional Facility in Alabama.
So many questions. How the hell did they get a T-shirt cannon into a prison?
Oh, no. This is even better. 2 people were arrested near the Limestone Correctional Facility for trespassing late Wednesday night. According to the Alabama Department of Corrections, a vehicle was reported near Nick Davis Road. When officials responded, the vehicle fled the scene and started a pursuit, ending in a nearby neighborhood cul-de-sac. The 2 individuals, now identified as Alvin Andrews and Ladarius McDade, were arrested. According to officials, McDade has been released from Bullock Correctional Facility in February. During a search of the pursuit path, agents located a blue duffel bag and a T-shirt cannon. The bag contained 2 cylinder-shaped packages wrapped in black tape, a night vision monocular, and an extra CO2 cartridge.
Okay.
They were shooting shit over the wall.
Yep.
Both individuals were transported to the Limestone County Detention Center, where they were both charged with promoting prison contraband, trespassing about prisons, and attempting to elude. I want you to imagine here for a second. Two guys standing at a prison wall. And here's a picture right here in the grass of...
That's a huge T-shirt cannon, too.
Isn't it? Okay, so these guys are standing outside a prison wall going, all right, so we got to get Pookie his shit. All right, here's what
in yard time in 5 minutes. Let's get ready.
Here we go. He ordered a big bag of Coke. Stuff it in the cannon. Here we go. And we made it. All right.
All right.
Yeah. Next thing, cake with a file. Yeah, we got it. Okay. What's the next thing he's got on the list? Prison pussy. A what? Pocket pussy. A what?
Flashlight.
They be going hard. A flashlight, man. A flashlight. Why a flashlight? Would they be going hard on little man in the prison? They need a flashlight. But I gotta clear the guard tower. You gotta what? I gotta clear the guard tower. Is it gonna fit in that cannon? Try it. I need a ramrod. All right, hold on. All right, ready? Oh shit! I hit the guard.
Go.
I mean, come on. Shooting stuff out of a T-shirt cannon over the wall of the prison?
No one's going to see or hear that.
No.
Those things are loud.
They are.
Hey, how much PSI do you think I need to clear that wall?
And then you're trying to measure, the
arc and the distance,
yes,
the wind.
It's just stupid. And
At least they use black saran wrap to wrap it.
Yeah, I mean that's and
so I couldn't see it at night.
By the way, I'll show you the picture of the two geniuses that if it'll come up here. That's what she said. At least these are their eyes. It won't.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, they are not the brightest. See, again, kids are getting dumb.
Their kids are getting dumb. That's for sure. They're youngins. That's for sure. But they thought a T-shirt cannon would get them over the hump. So there you go.
Hey, homie, I got this T-shirt cannon. What should we do? Oh, let's go shoot Pookie some stuff. He's been asking for it.
By the way, you think we can shoot him over a bottle of rum? No, that won't work. And finally, our last story, dumb crimes, stupid criminals. Police are looking for the owner of a runaway peacock in West Michigan. We go to Grant, Michigan, where police in Newaygo are looking for the public's help in locating an unusual fugitive. Yes, a brightly colored peacock is on the run and was spotted in the southern part of Newaygo County. Saturday, August 12th, the Newaygo County Sheriff's Office posted on social media about a wandering peacock that was spotted in the Grant area. They said, if you live in the Grant area and are missing a peacock, we would love to reunite you with your bird.
Just go to the zoo. That's where they all are.
The peacock was spotted around East 120th and South Walnut. If the bird is yours, or you know who the owner of the escaped avian might be, contact Sergeant Tim Bailey at 231-689-5288. I'm not repeating the number. If you happen to ever stumble across a peacock, there are certain steps you need to take to ensure the colorful visitor remains safe. The Peacock Information Center recommends calling around the area to see who it might belong to, or calling a local animal rescue or animal control, or even reaching out to someone who raises poultry. Yeah. That's if you run into a peacock, as opposed to running into peacock, which will cost you probably about $9.99 a month.
Oh. Yeah. I'll have to tell my peacock story tomorrow. On tomorrow's show. I got a great peacock story.
All right, yeah, let's do that. That'll do it for today's Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals. Bruiser, you got anything planned for the weekend?
Yeah, I'm relaxing, doing nothing.
There you go.
Spending time with the Mrs. Bruiser and the puppies.
There you go.
Yep, doing nothing.
This weekend, I'm up at KNSI, KNSIRadio.com. Tomorrow on the big show, Supernatural News. So tune in for that. That'll do it for today's Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals. Thank you so much for tuning in to the best in true crime podcasting. This has been True Crime Tuesday.